Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Pirates, sign in at the beginning of the Naruto character card. Chapter 1. In the year 1510 of the Hyuan calendar, Jinjin City Prison, Red Lotus Hell. Hey, wake up, get up and eat quickly, don't pretend to be dead. A voice slowly entered Qin Chuan's mind. The next moment, Qin Chuan suddenly felt a heavy blow to his hip, and immediately woke up with a start. Maid, hurry up and eat this meal before you die. It's your turn to play later. At this time, a man wearing a military cap, a white coat, and green trousers was looking at Qin Chuan viciously and said, "Road. This, here is." Qin Chuan asked in confusion after looking at the dark surroundings. "Haha, boy, it seems that you have been frightened into a fool, so I will tell you solemnly again, this is the first floor of the City University Prison, Red Lotus Hell. This meal will most likely be your last, so go ahead and enjoy it." The man turned and left after he finished speaking with a sly smile. Boom. After a muffled sound, Qin Chuan was the only one left on the scene. Just when he was about to get up to check the situation, suddenly a large number of memory fragments flooded into his brain. There was a sharp pain in his head, which forced Qin Chuan to hum softly. The next moment, the pain gradually disappeared. Immediately afterwards, pictures appeared in Qin Chuan's mind one after another. After a long time, Qin Chuan slumped on the cold floor again with a thud. How is it possible? How could I just time travel like this? I even traveled to the world of pirates. Qin Chuan kept muttering such a sentence. That's right, Qin Chuan really crossed over, and he crossed over to the world of pirates in Japanese manga. However, unlike the plot of the novel, he did not cross over to any strong person, but teleported to an ordinary pirate. What's more terrible is that this pirate happened to be caught by the Navy a few days ago and was directly imprisoned in this dark deep-sea prison in the city of Advancing. The prisoners in this prison are all serious criminals, and it is very eerie and terrifying, with all kinds of monster jailers and video phone bugs watching. In addition, there are a large number of large Neptunes on the seabed outside the prison, which makes the promotion city known as the Bronze Wall and Iron Wall. Not only that, but if they were imprisoned in this city, there was only one way for the prisoners to get out, and that was to escape from the prison. Since ancient times, only the famous Golden Lion, Shiji, successfully escaped from prison. It's fine to cross over to a street pirate, don't you give me a system. Qin Chuan cursed secretly. But as soon as he finished speaking, a familiar voice really appeared. Ding, the Naruto character possession system interface has been successfully constructed. Congratulations on successfully activating the system and the system's built-in store. Now you are rewarded with a junior novice gift pack. Please open your backpack and check it. It's coming, it's really coming. Qin Chuan excitedly turned on the so-called system after hearing this familiar voice. The next moment, a character panel appeared in Qin Chuan's mind. Host, Qin Chuan. Possessable characters, none. Possession usable times, 0. Reputation points, 0. What the hell, Naruto system? Qin Chuan glanced at the system panel suspiciously and was immediately at a loss. Then he remembered that he still had a so-called novice gift bag, and quickly opened the novice gift bag in the system backpack through his thoughts. Ding, the novice gift pack has been opened successfully. You have obtained a Naruto Matekai character card, and at the same time gifted the host with 10 times of use. Matekai, isn't that the strongest man in Naruto? And he was called the strongest man by that Madara. At this time, Qin Chuan's system character panel was refreshed again. Host, Qin Chuan. Possessable characters, Mat K. Possession usable times, 10. Reputation points, 0. Now Qin Chuan probably figured out what this system is all about. First of all, this system allows the characters in Naruto to possess himself. And when the character is possessed, he will get all the ninjutsu and body skills that these characters possess. But if you want to possess a Naruto character, you must first obtain the Naruto character card. In addition, you need to obtain the number of times to possess the character card, both of which are indispensable. However, Qin Chuan still doesn't know how to obtain the Naruto character card and the number of uses of possession. However, he remembered that the system seemed to remind him that he still had a system store just now, and then he immediately opened the system's own store through his mind. The next moment, rows of Naruto character cards appeared in Qin Chuan's brain. Sage of the Six Paths role card exchange condition, 10 million reputation points. Immortal mode, Uzumaki Naruto role card exchange condition, 1 million reputation points. Uchiha Madara role card exchange condition, 800,000 reputation points. Thousand-handed column room role card exchange condition, 500,000 reputation points. Uchiha Itachi role card exchange condition, 100,000 reputation points. Possession usage times last 1 hour exchange condition, 1,000 reputation. This includes almost all the more powerful ninjas in Naruto, and the prestige points required by these ninjas are also different. The legendary exchange condition for the Sage of the Six Paths has actually reached 10 million reputation points. And the cheapest one is naturally the number of uses of possession, but even so, it takes 1,000 reputation points to use it once. Taking another look at the eye-catching duck egg number in the column of his reputation, Qin Chuan shook his head with a wry smile. And then, he also found a short narrative text in the interface of the system store. The way to obtain the reputation point is, the host can obtain the corresponding reputation point after defeating the opponent. The stronger the opponent is, the more the reputation point obtained high. Now all the functions of this system are thoroughly clarified. If Qin Chuan wants to gain prestige points next, he must fight and defeat the opponent. Before he gains enough reputation, he only has 10 uses of the Metekai character, and each use has a time limit of only 1 hour. When 1 hour passes, Qin Chuan will return to the status of an ordinary person again. Fortunately, the strength of Metekai itself is extremely strong, especially the 8-door Dunjia is superb, so basically as long as he does not meet those so-called 4 emperors or admirals, Qin Chuan is still very confident that he will be able to fight within an hour. Beat each other. After getting familiar with the system, Qin Chuan stood up again and checked the surrounding environment. I saw that I was locked in a cell surrounded by iron walls on 3 sides and iron railings on 1 side. Even in the Red Lotus Hell on the top floor, there is always a strong smell of blood here. And just now Qin Chuan has learned from the memory of this life that he will face a life and death slaughter next. This is also because for a long time after Roger was executed, because the pirates all over the world were completely crazy because of his words before his departure. So that more and more pirates poured into the sea. This also led to more and more prisoners in the city's prison. Due to the special geographical location of the city, there is only one in this world, and it is impossible to expand it, so the cells inside were overcrowded for a while. And when Magellan and other high-level prison officials were troubled, Sati, the warden of the advancing city, who liked to listen to other people's groans and took pleasure in it, proposed a plan to let the prisoners kill each other. In her plan, the prisoners on each floor had a life and death duel on a regular basis. Everyone's name was replaced by a number, and then 2 numbers were drawn from each floor every day for a life and death duel. In this duel, the only way to win is to kill the opponent. But it's not over yet. If you want to survive here, you have to fight endlessly. That is to say, after you kill your opponent, tomorrow the guards in the prison will select 2 people from the prisoners on this floor to fight, and you may be drawn again. In theory, this approach is to reduce the prison population by a large amount, so after a high-level meeting, Magellan still agreed to Sarti's proposal. After all, most of the prisoners imprisoned here are people who commit all kinds of crimes, so he actually doesn't feel too sorry for the life and death of these prisoners. But in the end, he still proposed that the prisoners in the 6th floor prison must never be called out for a life and death duel. Obviously, even Magellan is more afraid of those guys who are imprisoned on the 6th floor. And there are 6 floors of prisons in the entire city of Advancement itself. This 6-story prison is the most terrifying infinite hell. There are some extraordinary people in this infinite hell, and there are either death row inmates or life imprisonment. The criminals imprisoned here are monster pirates who are too vicious and have been erased from history. The prisoners on this floor are all near legendary figures. Incidents of this level were covered up by the government, and even the newspapers deliberately concealed them. Shiji, the famous Golden Lion in history, once successfully escaped from this 6th prison. And in the later anime plots, the crew members of the Blackbeard pirates who were against the sky were also imprisoned here at this time. In addition, Shiryu of the Rain, the former warden of the advancing city, was also imprisoned in the 6th floor cell. So Magellan naturally didn't dare to release these vicious pirates easily and let them duel. And when Magellan nodded in agreement, Little Sati and the other prostitutes in the promotion city immediately began to hold the so-called life and death duel. Today, Chin Chuan, who is number 55, was unfortunately drawn by the jailers. At the same time, in order to make each duel more enjoyable, the jailers will give the 2 prisoners who are about to go to the battlefield a full meal before the duel, so that they can perform better in the next battle. Looking at the broken head rice on the ground, Chin Chuan snorted coldly and said, "Even if I starve to death, I will definitely not eat these rubbish rice." After about 10 minutes, the jailer just now walked to Chin Chuan's cell again. "Hey, have you eaten yet? You still have half an hour, so hurry up. It will be ready soon." Chin Chuan replied immediately after swallowing a piece of fresh meat. Half an hour passed in a flash, and Chin Chuan finally had a full meal. After all, how can you go out and fight without eating these days? When the time was up, 2 jailers came over, opened Chin Chuan's room door, and pulled Chin Chuan out wearing a bracelet and anklet. When Chin Chuan walked on the narrow and cold stone floor, the ankle chains rubbed against the ground and made a crisp sound. This sound sounds extremely scary. Carefully. At this time, there were countless cells distributed on both sides of this road. At this time, the prisoners in this cell were all gathered on the edge of the iron railing, and they looked at today's lucky guy gleefully. "Oh, buddy, you are dead this time. Your opponent is number 38, who has set a record of killing 5 people in a row." At this time, a head suddenly poked out from a nearby cell and said excitedly, "Shut up, if you talk nonsense again, you will fight instead of him." The jailer immediately reprimanded the talkative prisoner viciously after hearing these words. After being warned, the prisoner was much more honest, but he looked at Chin Chuan as if he was looking at a corpse. Obviously, in everyone's opinion, Chin Chuan is doomed. After a while, Chin Chuan was finally brought to a temporary circular arena in the center of the 1st floor of the prison. At this time, there were already many jailers standing around the arena, and they were all spectators of this life and death duel. Meanwhile, several special figures appeared in the highest positions above the competitive arena. A short man with 2 heads and 2 horns on his hat was standing there staring at Chin Chuan, holding a 3-pronged gun. When Chin Chuan saw the other party, he immediately recognized that this person was Shiryu Daisy, the head of the prison of Jinjin City. At the same time, he is also the commander of Brugali, the Blue Gorilla, who promoted the city prison. Brugali are the guards in the city university prison. They are responsible for guarding the 1st floor of Red Lotus Hell. In addition, there was already a figure standing on the ring at this time. Although this person is wearing a prison uniform, it can be seen from the appearance that the other person is quite burly, and at the same time, a deep scar on his face looks even more creepy. After the other party saw Chin Chuan for the first time, there was a strong killing intent in his eyes. No wonder he was able to kill 5 people in a row. The murderous aura on this guy is really strong. Chin Chuan muttered to himself. "Go up." The jailer behind him pushed Chin Chuan. Then Chin Chuan slowly stepped onto the ring. When Chin Chuan stepped onto the ring, the jailers around him began to cheer. Obviously they were also looking forward to this duel. Buy and leave the hand. The odds of killing number 55 on the 38th within 1 minute are 1. The odds of killing number 55 on the 38th within 3 minutes are 1.3, and the odds of killing number 55 on the 38th within 5 minutes, the odds are 1.5, and the odds of number 38 killing number 55 within 5 minutes are 1.10. At this time, a jailer immediately shouted at the surrounding jailers after Chin Chuan came to power. As soon as he finished speaking, the guards around took out their berries and started placing bets. "I buy 1,000 berries, and number 38 kills number 55 within 1 minute. I'll buy 3,000 berries, and number 38 will kill number 55 within 3 minutes. I buy 5,000 berry, and kill number 55 after 5 minutes on number 38. Excuse me, what are the odds for number 55 to kill no 38? At this moment, an extremely discordant voice suddenly appeared in everyone's ears. The next moment, the scene suddenly fell into silence, and everyone turned their heads to look at Chin Chuan, who had just spoken. At this time, Qin Chuan was standing on the ring with a smile on his face, looking at everyone. Boy, are you tired of living? Prisoner number 38, who was standing opposite at this time, immediately angrily yelled after seeing Qin Chuan's provocative words. What do you say? Why can you kill me? Can't I kill you? Let's come to a duel based on our own abilities, right? Qin Chuan said disapprovingly. HMPH, it seems that you really have confidence in yourself, but even if I make such a handicap, you don't have the money to bet. Ha ha, the jailer who opened the market said with a sinister smile. That's such a pity, I still want to earn some money to spend when I get out of prison. Qin Chuan pretended to regret. This kid is probably crazy. He actually said he was going to leave here. It's so funny. This number 55 is really humorous. It's a pity that such a humorous prisoner actually met no. 38. At this time, all the jailers spoke one after another. I can lend you money, how much do you want? At this moment, a deep voice suddenly came from the second floor. Qin Chuan looked up when he heard the sound, and saw Saludes looking at him with a smile on his face. It doesn't matter, I can borrow as much as I can, anyway, if I lose, I will die. Haha, okay, did number 55 kill number 38 in your handicap? Saludes suddenly turned his head to look at the jailer below and asked. Yes, the odds of number 55 killing number 38 are 1/500. The jailer below said immediately. Well, give me a wanberry. After Saludes finished speaking, the scene instantly boiled. This was the first time Saludes placed a bet. Before that, he just quietly followed the game. But this time he not only bet, but also in such a weird way. HMPH, kid, I'll tear you apart later. Prisoner number 38 said viciously. Qin Chuan didn't respond, but immediately opened the system backpack through his mind, and then chose the character of Matekai. Ding, the host successfully used the Matekai character card, and the number of possession uses -1. The next moment, Qin Chuan suddenly felt something pour into his body instantly. At the same time, many physical moves owned by Matekai flashed in his mind. Konoha Whirlwind, Konoha Hard Force Whirlwind, Konoha Instant Body Technique, Power Prelude, Baman Dunjia. A series of physical skills were instantly recorded in Qin Chuan's mind. Interesting. Looking at the changes in his body, Qin Chuan smiled. You two are ready, now I announce that today's life and death duel has officially begun. At this moment, a jailer stood at the bottom of the ring and shouted at the two people on the stage. Ding! With the sound of a bell, the duel on the stage officially began. At this time, prisoner number 38 couldn't wait to rush towards Qin Chuan's direction. But Qin Chuan stood there calmly and waited for him. Go to hell! Prisoner number 38 rushed to Qin Chuan's front and back, and immediately punched him in the head with a powerful and heavy fist. At this moment, Qin Chuan finally moved. Whirlwind of leaves. The next moment, Qin Chuan kicked out at super high speed and directly attacked the chin of No. 38. When No 38's fist was about to touch Qin Chuan's face, No 38's right hand suddenly stopped in place. Because at this time Qin Chuan's right foot had already kicked prisoner number 38 on the chin. Boom! After a muffled sound, prisoner number 38 flew into the sky in an instant, and then fell hard on the ring. At this moment, the scene fell into a deathly silence. Everyone stared dumbfounded at everything in front of them, as if this matter was so incredible. Immediately after prisoner number 38 fell down, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and his body did not respond at all. For the prison guards who were used to seeing life and death, they could tell at a glance that prisoner number 38 had passed away. Even Saludes in the stands on the second floor couldn't help frowning slightly. Obviously, Qin Chuan's move just now was beyond his expectation. The opponent is a murderer at this level, but when facing Qin Chuan, he doesn't even have the strength to fight back. In this way, Qin Chuan may have to be re-rated. If his strength level is re-modified, then he may be sent to the prison on the lower floors to serve his sentence. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 500 reputation points this time. Qin Chuan was overjoyed when he saw that he would get 500 reputation points for killing any prisoner on the first floor of the city. After all, at the beginning, he saw that any character card that Newbie ordered was worth hundreds of thousands of prestige points, which made him a little worried about whether this prestige was easy to obtain. But now it seems that it is not difficult to obtain reputation points. It's just that he is locked up in this city and has lost his freedom, so the most urgent thing is to get out of here. Boy, it seems that you really have two hands. If you are lucky this time, someone will come and handcuff and chain him back to the cell and lock him up. In addition, 2 blue orangutans will be sent to guard him separately. Hey, Saludes, did you forget one thing? Just now you said you would lend me 10,000 berries. Now according to the odds, I will get 5 million berries, right? Where is the money? Boy, are you looking for death? Ask us for money here. At this time, the jailers in the audience began to scold Qin Chuan. If you don't give me the 5 million berry today, I'm afraid the matter will not be so easy to solve. As soon as Qin Chuan finished speaking, Saludes jumped directly onto the stage below. Immediately afterwards, he kicked prisoner number 38 who fell to the ground. The next moment, the body of prisoner number 38 was kicked by him and flew to the ground beside him. Now your opponent is me, this time I want to gamble with you again, how about it? Saludes said coldly, holding a 3-pronged gun. Okay, what kind of bet? I lost, I'll give you 5 million, you lose, save your life. In this way, I really want to be at a disadvantage. What if I don't want to gamble? Qin Chuan pretended to think for a while and then said slowly. It's okay if you don't want to gamble, but you still have to keep your life here. After hearing Saludes' words, Qin Chuan also instantly understood that he had become a dangerous person. Here, dangerous people are either put in the prison below, or they will be killed by them. Obviously, Saludes wanted to die here. At this point, Qin Chuan already had a bold idea in his heart. He no longer wants to stay here and rely on the so-called life and death duel to earn reputation points. After all, a battle can only get a few hundred reputation points. It's really too slow. So at this time, he has decided to rely on the character of Matekai to blow up the entire city of advancement. And if you want to blow up the city, the first goal is naturally to defeat Saludes, who is guarding the prison on the first floor. Okay, I'm willing to accept the bet, but I want to raise. Oh, tell me, what do you want to raise? If I lose, I will keep my life. If you lose, you will also keep your life here. How about it? You will never defeat me, go die. Saludes sneered when he heard that Qin Chuan still wanted to kill him, and then stabbed Qin Chuan with a 3-pronged gun. Overestimating one's abilities. Konoha's instant body technique. Qin Chuan snorted softly. Immediately after that, when Saludes' trident spear was about to stab Qin Chuan's chest, Qin Chuan's figure suddenly flashed. The next moment, he actually appeared behind Saludes. Your speed is too slow. Seeing that he was stabbing in the air, and Qin Chuan unexpectedly appeared behind him, Sarudiazi's heart skipped a beat, and at the same time, an ominous premonition rose instantly. Immediately afterwards, he quickly turned around and tried to attack Qin Chuan again. But the moment he turned around, Qin Chuan kicked him flying. Power prelude. This time, Qin Chuan didn't hold anything back, all his strength was concentrated on his right foot, coupled with the high explosive speed. After this kick hit Saludes, Saludes's face twisted instantly. Boom! Saludes flew back tens of meters like a kite and slammed hard on the icy floor. At this time, the prisoners in the cells on both sides of Saludes were stunned when they saw Saludes lying on the ground dying. But at the next moment, enthusiastic cheers erupted in all the cells. Obviously, all the prisoners were happy to see Saludes beaten. They have already suffered from Saludes' torture in this prison, so they feel very happy at this time. But at this time, after seeing their boss Saludes was knocked down, the surrounding jailers panicked. Quickly, stop him, and report to the warden Sati. One of the jailers said. The jailers in the entire city of Advance are all under the jurisdiction of Little Sati, while Saludes is only in charge of the blue orangutans. But because the blue gorilla is tough, Saludes asked Little Sati for a team to take charge of the life and death duel right away. So at this time, they instinctively wanted to inform Little Sati, who was staying on the 4th floor of the city. And Qin Chuan didn't stop him after seeing someone running away in a hurry. After all, there are surveillance phone bugs everywhere in this advancing city. These surveillance phone bugs are like cameras in reality, transmitting everything in the prison to the prison's monitoring room. So the picture of Qin Chuan defeating Saludes has naturally been transmitted to the whole prison. In addition, if he wants to blow up the promotion city, he must slowly defeat all the guards here from the top floor. So instead of doing this, it's better to wait for them to find me. And at this moment, the system sound rang again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 5,000 reputation points this time. After killing Saludes, Qin Chuan actually received 5,000 reputation points in one go. And if this kills Magellan, the warden of the advancing city, wouldn't he be rewarded with tens of thousands of reputation points? In just 10 minutes, Qin Chuan gained 5,500 reputation points, which Qin Chuan did not expect. At this time, the jailers who heard the news had already stood in formation and aimed their guns at Qin Chuan in front of him. Fire! One of the guards yelled. Bang! 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 The next moment, several bullets burst towards Qin Chuan in an instant. How dare a small skill to use an axe in this class? Dewei Tianlong. Sorry, I made a mistake, come again. How dare a small skill to use an axe in this class? Konoha's instant body art. This time, Qin Chuan also used the high-speed teleportation technique to perfectly avoid the attack of these bullets. Then he took another stride and directly killed the soldiers in the front row. At this time, Qin Chuan not only inherited all of Maidakai's physical skills, but also his current physical skills have completely inherited Maidakai's physical characteristics, so his hands are not only agile, but also have a strong output ability. Bang! 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 After the sounds of fists colliding, the jailers at the scene fell to the ground in disorder. At the same time, the prisoners in these cells immediately became excited after seeing this scene. Brother, save us quickly, let's fight out together. At this time, such a sentence came from an unknown cell. As soon as these words came out, the scene became even more heated. Countless people began to knock on the iron bars of the cell door, and the sound of ping-pong spread throughout the entire layer of Red Lotus Hell. Qin Chuan glanced at the monitoring phone bug on the wall, and smiled slightly at the corner of his mouth. Since you all said so, let's start carnival. As soon as Qin Chuan finished speaking, he immediately kicked towards a cell door. Boom! The prison door made of steel was kicked open by Qin Chuan. Now the prisoners inside rushed out immediately. Then everyone started scrambling to get to the fallen jailers to get the cell keys hanging on them. In just a few minutes, all the prison doors on the entire first floor were opened. At the same time, the guards in the monitoring room immediately ran to the warden's office on the fourth floor to report after seeing this scene. After the prisoners on the first floor were released, they gathered around Qin Chuan. At this time, everyone knew very well that relying on their strength was absolutely impossible to escape from here. And this man in front of them is their only hope. Brothers, if we don't kill those propelling city gunmen below, I think we won't be able to escape at all, so are you willing to kill them with me? Qin Chuan stood on the competition ring and shouted to the crowd below road. Willing. Kill them. The prisoners below shouted excitedly for the first time. They have been suppressed for too long, and there is no ray of light in this advancing city, so it is better to rise up and resist than to be tortured to death here. The next moment, under Qin Chuan's order, they started running towards the second basement floor. The second basement floor is the Beast Hell, where various ferocious beasts and monsters are placed, including cockatrices, man-faced lions, and poisonous scorpions. And it is the Sphinx, one of the jailer beasts, who rules this lair. This Sphinx looks like a lion, but its face is extremely ugly and looks very scary. And when Qin Chuan and other large troops arrived at the second basement floor, Sphinx was still sleeping leisurely on his stomach. Cut these jailer beasts into pieces. After reaching the second level of Beast Hell, someone immediately shouted at the little hippopotamus, big praying mantis, combined scorpion, and other jailer beasts in front of them. The next moment, countless prisoners held guns and ammunition from the Red Lotus Hell gun and started shooting wildly at the jailer beasts in front. After the sound of the shells sounded, a large number of jailer beasts standing in the front fell down one after another. This also made the prisoners even more excited, and everyone sprinted forward. And this move completely alarmed Sphinx. After seeing so many prisoners being released and rebelling, it suddenly stood up and roared, and then rushed towards the crowd immediately. When the Sphinx rushed into the crowd, it immediately caused a commotion. Several prisoners were bitten by its fangs and died on the spot. Not only that, when the surrounding prisoners raised their guns and fired bullets at it, the bullets could not penetrate the skin at all after hitting it. It can be seen that the defense of this Sphinx has been strong to a certain extent. No wonder it was able to be sent to suppress the second level of Beast Hell. With the entry of the Sphinx, the jailer beast troops began to counterattack aggressively. Seeing this scene, Qin Chuan didn't hesitate, and immediately jumped to the top of the crowd, and then stepped on the densely packed heads in front of him and rushed towards the Sphinx. The next moment, when Qin Chuan rushed to Sphinx, he suddenly snorted softly, "The first door, open the door." Opening the door is the first door of the 8-door Dunjia. It removes the restriction of the brain region to achieve the purpose of exerting 100% of the body's ability, and consumes the body's energy to increase the attack and speed. At the same time, after opening the door successfully, the host can use the beautiful lotus blossom physical skill to attack the target. At this time, Sphinx also noticed the existence of Qin Chuan, and immediately opened his bloody mouth to swallow Qin Chuan in one gulp. "Want to eat me? Look at the trick. Biao Lianhua." The next moment, Qin Chuan kicked Sphinx directly on the chin. And Sphinx never expected that Qin Chuan would be able to do this trick, and was kicked right away, and then the whole person flew up. Then Qin Chuan once again used the teleportation technique to quickly move to the sky, hugged it, and then slammed into the ground. Boom! Because of the speed, before the Sphinx could react, its head had already slammed into the hard floor. Immediately smashed the floor into a sinkhole. Sphinx passed out on the spot after being hit hard on his brain. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 3,000 reputation points this time. This Sphinx still has a certain gap compared with Saludes, so Qin Chuan only gained 3,000 reputation points after defeating it. After seeing this scene, the remaining jailer beasts were startled, and some jailer beasts started to turn around and run away. On the other hand, the prisoners' momentum rose again after seeing Qin Chuan destroy the Sphinx in just one round. Then everyone started to rush forward. Those jailer beasts who turned around and wanted to escape into the third layer of Hunger Hell hadn't run halfway, but they were directly blocked by several behemoths rushing up from the third layer. The next moment, a woman with curly blonde hair, bangs covering her eyes, wearing candle-shaped white earrings, and a tight pink leather jacket slowly walked out from among the large jailer beasts. And she is the commander of the 4 jailer beasts in the 4th layer of the city's scorching hell, Little Sati, and she is also the warden of the city's prison. Little Sati slowly pointed the trident in his hand at the jailer beasts who were about to escape and shouted, "Who dares to take another step back, kill without mercy." As soon as she finished speaking, the 4 large prison beasts around her took a step forward. Seeing this scene, these mini jailer beasts were scared to death. Although they were afraid of Qin Chuan's strength, they were more afraid of Little Sati who liked to torture people. So at the moment, these jailer beasts had no choice but to turn around again and bite the bullet and rushed towards the prisoner troops who were rushing towards them. But in the face of the imposing army of prisoners, these jailer beasts have no resistance at all. After 3 or 2 blows, these jailer beasts were defeated and died one after another. Immediately afterwards, the 2 groups of people met in the middle of the 2nd floor of the prison. After all, there is still a big gap between Little Sati and the Sphinx, so all the prisoners stopped involuntarily after seeing Little Sati. "You fools, you should have been tortured to death in the first place, saving your lives, but you still want to rebel." Little Sati's vicious voice came over immediately. "Hey, chick, you have a serious tone, it seems that you have stayed here for too long, and you have blind confidence in your own strength. Saludes and Sphinx, who are as confident as you just now, don't know if they are still breathing. If you are lucky enough to survive, remember to visit them." Quote. Qin Chuan walked slowly to the front of the team, and the prisoners in the team also tactfully stepped aside. Hearing Qin Chuan's words, Little Sati's face sank. Of course, she knew that Qin Chuan must have defeated Saludes and Sphinx to come here, so she also began to hold her trident tightly. Obviously, the strength of this guy in front of him is absolutely impossible to be an ordinary pirate. "You can't stop me just because of you. Chin Chuan snorted softly, and immediately moved to little Sati's side in an instant. At this time, little Sati was taken aback. Chin Chuan's speed was so fast just now that he didn't react at all. And just when she was about to raise the trident subconsciously to fight back, Chin Chuan's fist had already hit her. Boom! A muffled sound hit little Sati's face. Accompanied by the sound of a broken bone, little Sati flew to the side wall in an instant. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 10,000 reputation rewards this time. I have to say that this little Sati actually has a certain strength, which also directly increased Chin Chuan's 10,000 reputation rewards. This scene also shocked everyone in the monitoring room. Especially Magellan, who was sitting in the warden's office, stood up in shock. It was clear that Chin Chuan was standing on the opposite side just now, but why did he flash to little Sati's side in an instant? In addition, the power of his fist is too terrifying. Although little Sati is not the strongest in this prison, he is not a character that can be easily defeated. At this time, in the video screen, Chin Chuan walked slowly to little Sati, then grabbed her disheveled hair and looked at the monitoring phone bug hanging on the wall. Magellan, do you have to force me to clear the city? I have a bad temper. If there is a massacre, there may not be anyone here who will be able to leave alive. After speaking, Chin Chuan let go, and little Sati's whole face hit the floor again. Although it is not easy for them to die, but now that they have suffered such serious injuries, even if they receive treatment in the future, they may not be able to restore their previous combat strength. Director Magellan, you are miserable, the other party clearly wants to provoke you, and when you lose, I can take your place as the warden, hee hee. Ah, I'm sorry, warden, I didn't mean that, I was worried that you would be defeated by that guy, and our prison would be over by then. At this time, a man wearing an Egyptian pharaoh-style headgear and with a bulging stomach like a ghost muttered there. Asshole, Hannibal, as the deputy warden, you should think about how to stop the prisoners from escaping at this time. If we are all defeated and the world government blames us, then you can't afford to go around. Then you are the warden, I'm just a deputy, and it's not my turn to take responsibility. Hannibal whispered beside him. Hannibal is a big careerist. His greatest wish is to replace Magellan as the warden of the deep-sea prison, so whenever he encounters any problems, he always thinks about shifting the responsibility to Magellan. This time, even though Chin Chuan had already defeated several senior prison officials, Hannibal still didn't care. I order you to take the large troops down to the third underground prison to stop them, or I will regard you as disobedient. Magellan said angrily. Normally, he wouldn't be too lazy to argue with Hannibal there, but now that the entire city of Advance is facing the crisis of being destroyed, he is still talking nonsense, which makes Magellan very angry. Although Hannibal wanted to replace Magellan, he was also very afraid of Magellan's strength. Seeing that Magellan was angry, he quickly saluted Magellan, and then hurried out with his trident. After Hannibal left, beside her was a slender woman with an elegant temperament, wearing a pair of reddish-brown sunglasses, a hat slanted to block her right eye, blonde and long curly hair, and wearing a suit. A woman wearing a brown jacket and brown shorts, a white shirt inside, a black tie, dark red high boots and dark red long gloves walked up immediately. Prison warden, why don't I go down with Deputy Warden Hannibal to fight against those guys? The person who spoke was Domino, the warden of the advancing city. After the former warden Shiryu of the Rain was imprisoned in the 6th prison, she replaced Shiryu of the Rain as the new warden of the advancing city. Domino, I'm going to give you a very difficult task now. This task may determine the survival of the entire Propel city, so you must be more cautious. Magellan suddenly said seriously. What mission? Go down to the 6th floor, and then stare at the surveillance screen on the 4th floor. If you see that I have been defeated, then please immediately release Shiryu of the Rain who was imprisoned on the 6th floor. What? Let him out, warden, it's a big deal. The Shiryu of the Rain they are talking about is the former guardian of the advancing city, and his strength is as famous as Magellan. Pushing City was also known as the Iron Wall because of these two trump cards, but because he liked to kill and often killed prisoners indiscriminately, he was sentenced to death with a reprieve and was imprisoned at the bottom of the big prison. Now Magellan actually wants to release Shiryu of the Rain, which makes Domino a little hesitant. No matter what he is also the one we advance to the city, and before that, he killed all prisoners, so I believe that at this moment, he should make the most sensible choice. And in fact, if he can really make great contributions in this battle, then I will make a report to the world government, and then let the above order an amnesty for him. Magellan said in a deep voice. Prisoner, is that guy really that scary? I'm not sure, but I'll do my best to stop him. Hearing what Magellan said, Domino also understood that advancing the city this time would be a disaster. She nodded solemnly, then immediately turned around and left the office to go to the 6th basement floor. On the other hand, on Qin Chuan's side, after bursts of cheers, Qin Chuan and others went to the 3rd underground prison Hunger Hell together with the released 2nd floor prisoners. Hunger Hell basically imprisoned ferocious criminals with a reward of more than 50 million berry. The heat from the scorching hell from the lower level made this level extremely hot. Coupled with the torture of starvation and hunger strike, the prisoners were already half dead. At this time, they had already heard the movement from above in the prison. When Qin Chuan and the others killed them, the whole prison was bustling with excitement. Obviously, Qin Chuan is already like a savior in everyone's mind. And on this floor, Qin Chuan met Hannibal, the deputy warden. Hannibal's strength was far behind Magellan's, so Qin Chuan didn't take him seriously. After seeing Hannibal, Qin Chuan smiled slightly and said, Hey, isn't this our deputy warden? Why didn't Magellan come and send you to die? HMPH, what nonsense are you talking about? Of course I personally took care of such an important matter. Hannibal slammed the trident on the ground and scolded. And the power of the trident instantly cracked the floor. I think the jailers behind you seem to be afraid of death. Qin Chuan said again after glancing at the jailers behind Hannibal with spears. At this time, there was already a big gap between the two sides in terms of momentum. The prisoners on Qin Chuan's side fought with the feeling that they must die. They didn't have any hope in themselves. Even if they died in this war now, they would not feel that it was a pity. But on the other hand, the jailers on the opposite side don't think so, they don't want to die here. In addition, even the high-level battle forces of the advancing city, such as Saludes and Little Sati, were defeated one after another. How could they be able to resist this army? Naturally, Hannibal also knew that this situation was extremely unfavorable for advancing the guarding troops of the city, so he was unwilling to procrastinate any longer, so he rushed towards Qin Chuan with his trident. But Qin Chuan smiled and suddenly flashed. The whole person flashed to Hannibal's side again. But Hannibal is the deputy warden after all, and his strength is stronger than that of Little Sati and the others. Even though Qin Chuan had rushed over at this moment, Hannibal was still able to catch the opponent's trace in the first place. Then he suddenly raised the trident. Dang! With a sound, Qin Chuan's fist hit Hannibal's trident. Even with super physical skills and defensive abilities, Qin Chuan still felt a tingling in his arms at this moment. But it's not over yet. When Qin Chuan was thinking about attacking again, suddenly an extremely inappropriate voice sounded. Ding! The time to use the character card of Matekai has expired, and the original state of the host is now restored. Please pay attention to the host. As soon as the system sound fell, Qin Chuan seemed to have his entire soul taken away, and then his whole body became limp in an instant. But at this time, after resisting Qin Chuan's attack, Hannibal saw that the opponent did not attack again immediately, and Dang even didn't care whether there was fraud, and then kicked Qin Chuan in the stomach. Boom! Qin Chuan didn't have any precautions, he flew out of the whole person, and flew directly into the crowd of prisoners behind him. The prisoners were also shocked when they saw this scene, and then quickly spread their hands to catch Qin Chuan. After being picked up by the prisoners, Qin Chuan couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. The moment he was kicked in the stomach by Hannibal just now, he only felt that his body suddenly began to turn upside down. And Hannibal didn't expect that Qin Chuan would be injured by his casual kick. Combined with Qin Chuan's brave performance just now, a smile gradually appeared on Hannibal's face. Then he intentionally or unintentionally winked at the surveillance phone bug beside him. Obviously, his eyes were specially for Magellan, who was overseeing the battle in the 4th floor prison. Now Hannibal's fighting spirit has reached its peak. Originally, he hoped that after this riot, Magellan would take full responsibility and resign for it. In this way, Hannibal, who was the deputy warden, would naturally be promoted to be the master of this deep-sea prison. But everything is different now. If he can defeat Qin Chuan head-on and suppress these rioters at the same time, then he can also recommend himself to the world government as the warden by virtue of his first battle. Thinking of this, Hannibal couldn't help showing a weird smile. After this round of contest, the momentum of the two sides has also undergone a great change. The jailers, who were demoralized at the beginning, cheered on the spot when they saw that Qin Chuan could be defeated. The jailers on Qin Chuan's side fell silent at this moment. After all, if even Qin Chuan couldn't pay that Hannibal, then let alone everyone present. Boy, it seems that you are really useless, and you still want to escape from prison with this ability. After I reward you and tie you up, I will let you taste what pain is. Hannibal stood there, sneered. And Qin Chuan sneered after listening, and immediately exchanged the character card of Might K again through his mind. Ding, the host successfully used the Matekai character card, and the number of possession uses -1. When the system sound came out, Qin Chuan's body regained its previous energy. The next moment, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and rushed towards Hannibal at top speed. 8 doors of Dunjia, 3rd door, life door, open. After Qin Chuan secretly said, his whole body began to congest and turn red, and at the same time, he further increased his speed and attack power. After seeing Qin Chuan's whole body move, Hannibal swallowed, and grasped the trident with both hands to prepare for this fierce battle. The game is over, Li Lianhua. Qin Chuan roared. In the next second, Hannibal felt as if some kind of mysterious object flashed past his eyes, and before he could react, Qin Chuan's fist hit his chin from bottom to top. Afterwards, Hannibal flew up like a rocket, and the face of the government was completely distorted. And this is not over yet. When he flew into the air, Qin Chuan stood on the ground and stretched his legs, and then his whole body was ejected into the air instantly. After flying to Hannibal's side, Qin Chuan raised his right foot and kicked it down fiercely. Boom! Hannibal was instantly kicked into the ground by this high-speed blow. The whole floor quickly cracked around Hannibal. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 15,000 reputation rewards this time. As the system sounded, Qin Chuan knew that Hannibal could never wake up again. Magellan, who saw this scene on the surveillance screen, sighed, then stood up and tidied up his black suit, and then walked outside the office. After successfully defeating Hannibal, the jailers of the third-tier prison were completely defeated. A large number of jailers were beaten to death by the desperate prisoners. And similarly, nursery rhymes left many dead bodies of prisoners along the entire passage. Everyone rushed to the 4th floor of the promotion city as if they were on stimulants. The 4th floor of Advancing City is the most important floor in the entire deep-sea prison. Not only is Magellan's office located here, but he also has a kitchen and a granary. The overall temperature is very high. And there is a large blood pool in the middle of the 4th floor. This blood pool is like a huge iron pot, and it is full of boiling flames. But when Qin Chuan arrived at the entrance of the 4th floor, he suddenly found countless prisoners lying motionless on the ground in front of him. At the same time, there is still a large amount of deep purple gas in the air of the 4 hells. Seeing this scene, Qin Chuan hurried back to the 3rd floor. Obviously, this is the skill released by Magellan's superhuman poisonous devil fruit. Magellan's superhuman poisonous devil fruit can produce dark purple venom from anywhere on the body, including sweat, saliva, breath and sigh or poisonous gas. The venom can paralyze the nerves of creatures, cause pain or hallucinations, and even cause death, and the venom is strong enough to melt stones with a single blow. The poisoned people need Magellan's antidote to be saved. But there is a disadvantage that if you use the fruit ability frequently, you will always be in a state of diarrhea. So this is one of the important reasons why Magellan was able to sit in the deep-sea prison and suppress a large number of legendary pirates. Haha, boy, no matter how powerful your attack power is, it's impossible to crack my poison attack. Magellan, who was slaughtered in the 4 hells, burst into laughter on the spot when he saw Qin Chuan, who fled in a hurry. At this time, Qin Chuan, who was in the 3rd level of hell, was not idle. He immediately opened the system store and began to search. In fact, an important reason for Magellan's strength is the toxin that cannot be removed from his body. Therefore, if Qin Chuan wants to defeat the opponent, he must first choose a character who can resist the toxin attack, and, Might Kai, obviously his request could no longer be met. At the beginning, all Qin Chuan could think of was Sanshoyu Hanzo, who was called a half-god by the world. Hanzo has the ability to release poison gas to paralyze opponents just by breathing, so Hanzo wears a snorkel in order not to poison others. But thinking that Magellan's toxin can invade the human body through physical contact, so even Sancho Hanzo cannot resist the opponent's toxin attack. At this time, Qin Chuan had already heard the sound of footsteps returning from the 4th floor of hell to the 3rd floor of hell. Obviously, only one person can make it back to the 3rd hell alive. Qin Chuan was already a little nervous at this time, but at the next moment, Qin Chuan's eyes suddenly brightened. Because he found a new character in the system store. That is to say, a member of the Shao organization who possesses the technique of puppetry, Scorpion. Basically all characters may be invaded by poisonous gas, but if it is a puppet, then the poisonous gas will have no effect even if it is invaded. But when he saw that the column of exchange conditions required 50,000 reputation points, Qin Chuan secretly cursed again, profiteer. However, even if the Scorpion was not successfully exchanged, it gave Qin Chuan an inspiration. After all, there are many ninjas who can make puppets in the Naruto world. At this time, another puppet master appeared in Qin Chuan's sight. Grandma Chio, roll card, exchange condition, 30,000 reputation points. Maybe it's because of aging, Chio's mother-in-law's exchange conditions are much less than Scorpion's. And Qin Chuan checked his system panel, and found that he just had more than 30,000 reputation points after defeating high-level asterisk such as Saludes and Hannibal. So at this time, without hesitation, he chose to exchange Grandma Chio character card. Ding! The Chidai Granny roll card has been successfully exchanged, and the system will automatically deduct 30,000 reputation points from the host. After Qin Chuan successfully exchanged, Magellan finally came to the 3rd level of hell. Boy, do you still want to resist? I'm afraid you will die a miserable death later. Magellan slowly walked to Qin Chuan's side. At this moment, his whole body was filled with this deep purple poisonous gas. Magellan, you think too much of yourself. If your poison is useless, you are useless. Unfortunately, my poison is still there, so you will definitely die. Poison channel. The next moment, the poison on Magellan's body exploded along the floor like a channel towards Qin Chuan, who was directly in front of him. At this time, Qin Chuan also used the Grandma Chio character card in an instant. Ding! The host has successfully used the character card of Grandma Chiandai, and the number of possession usage times -1. When the system notification sounded, Qin Chuan retreated more than 10 meters at top speed to avoid Magellan's toxin attack. But even though Magellan's toxins failed to hit Qin Chuan, the toxins filled the air immediately after stopping. In this way, a poisonous wall was virtually formed. I'll see how long you can hide. Poison pufferfish. After Magellan finished speaking, he opened his mouth wide, and then spit out a large number of poisonous balls from his mouth. These poisonous balls rushed towards Qin Chuan after passing through layers of toxin fog. And Qin Chuan also knew that he couldn't procrastinate any longer. If he let these poisonous balls get close and explode, he would be corroded by the poison. Secret white technique. 10 people from Shimatsu. Qin Chuan snorted softly, and immediately ejected 10 thin lines from his 10 fingers. At the end of these thin lines stood a figure in a white robe, and each of them held a different weapon in their hands. 10 thin threads control 10 puppets respectively, and these puppets are the ancestor of the puppet master, Monziman's masterpiece, Kinmatsu 10 people. The next moment, Qin Chuan moved his fingers, and the 10 puppets rushed towards the several poisonous balls that burst forward. In an instant, all the poisonous balls that Magellan spit out were smashed by the puppets. And the toxin also permeated the air in the first place. Seeing that his attack was resolved by Qin Chuan again, Magellan's face darkened at this time. HMPH, I didn't expect that you still have some skills, so let's see where you can escape with the next move. The poisonous dragon summons. As Magellan's voice fell, 3 huge, dragon-shaped poisons that looked like a dragon actually seeped out of his body. These 3 dragon-shaped poisons seemed to be roaring towards Qin Chuan like a dragon. Facing Magellan's menacing attack, Qin Chuan also knew that at this time he had to amplify his moves. See if your poisonous dragon is stronger, or my puppet is stronger. Puppet Art 3 Treasures Suction. The next moment, the 3 puppets in Qin Chuan's hands quickly stood together. Then one of them jumped directly onto the shoulders of the other 2 puppets. When the dragon-shaped toxin was about to rush to the 3 puppets suddenly stretched out their hands, and a violent tornado quickly appeared around them. And these tornadoes can absorb everything around them directly in front of them, and the absorbed substances will be completely compressed in an instant, and then shot forward. The violent tornado instantly compressed the 3 dragon-shaped toxins into a cloud of poisonous gas, and then directly scattered in the direction of Magellan in front. Magellan is naturally not afraid of his own poisonous gas, which comes from himself. But when the 3 poisonous dragons' breaths released from his body were actually sent back by Qin Chuan on the way back, he already had a frightened expression on his face. At this time, Qin Chuan, who was not far away, also realized that if he dragged on any longer, he would be surrounded by toxins, so he was heartbroken, and immediately drove the 10 puppets in his hand to charge towards Magellan with weapons, past. On the other side, in the 6th floor of the promotion layer, which is the most terrifying infinite hell, Domino stood in front of an extremely dark prison door. At this time, her heart was beating very fast, and the keys in her hand were all soaked with sweat. The atmosphere of this level of hell is obviously completely different from the atmosphere of the upper levels of hell. The cells on both sides of the entire passage are quiet at this time. Because here, all the detainees are imprisoned, they are either death row prisoners or life imprisonment, so as long as they are imprisoned here, there is only one way waiting for them, waiting for death. Also because the prisoners on this floor did a lot of evil, some incidents beyond cruelty were covered up by the government, and even the newspapers deliberately concealed them, so it is conceivable that even a high-ranking police officer in the city of advancement like Domino would feel uncomfortable standing here. A lot of pressure. Domino, did something terrible appear up there? At this moment, a familiar voice came from the depths of the prison cell. Shiryu of the Rain, we need you now, Domino said with a heavy tone after hesitating for a while. The tone is so heavy, it seems that the battle above is very fierce, but what I am more curious about is what kind of character can actually threaten our most beloved warden Magellan. An ordinary prisoner in the Red Lotus Hell used some strange tricks. He has successively defeated prison chief Saludes, Sphinx, chief warden Little Sati, and deputy warden Hannibal. Now the warden Magellan is resisting his attack in the 4th layer of hell if nothing else happens. Quote, it's so interesting. I didn't expect to see someone escape from here in my lifetime. At this moment, a shrill female voice came from a cell next door. If Qin Chuan was on the scene at this time, he would have seen a woman with heavy makeup, strange clothes and a high nose. Caitlin, you will never get out alive, Domino retorted immediately after hearing the voice. Hey, you'd better take care of yourself, they will kill you later. Catherine Diame replied quietly. Don't wait, it's already here, open the door. Shiryu of the Rain walked out of the darkness and came to the prison door after speaking. The sudden appearance of Shiryu of the Rain also startled Domino. At this time, there was a sound of sonorous footsteps from the stairs not far away. Hearing this voice, Domino swallowed his saliva, and immediately stretched out the key and inserted it into the keyhole of the prison door where Shiryu of the Rain was being held. With a click, the prison door was officially opened. Then, a man wearing the clothes of an officer of Impel Prison and an aviator cap emerged from the cell. After regaining his freedom, Shiryu of the Rain couldn't help but raise a sinister smile. That guy is very powerful, please be sure. Before Domino finished speaking, Shiryu of the Rain stretched out his right hand and grabbed Domino's neck in the blink of an eye. You, let go. Domino never expected that Shiryu of the Rain would attack him, and was immediately strangled by the other party, unable to speak at all. Stop talking nonsense and bring me my thunderstorm. Shiryu of the Rain snorted coldly, and then snatched a saber from Domino's hand. And this saber is also the famous sword that accompanied him all the way, Thunderstorm. Hey, why are you fighting among yourself? At this moment, Qin Chuan appeared in the field of vision of the two of them. Seeing Qin Chuan approaching, Shiryu of the Rain made a sudden force and threw Domino to the rear. Boy, I heard that you are very strong, and you were able to defeat Magellan. It's so. The main purpose of coming here this time is to beat you all to the ground, and then I will leave here. Qin Chuan said easily. Haha, although Magellan is powerful, as long as his poison is broken, then he is a useless person. But I am different, my knife is not a joke, if you are not careful, your body may be torn apart. Quote. Well, it is indeed a troublesome matter, but it doesn't matter, because my fist is harder than your knife. After Qin Chuan finished speaking, he immediately redeemed the character card of Matekai again through the system mind. Ding, the host successfully used the Matekai character card, and the number of possession uses -1. After my Tekai covered Qiandai's mother-in-law again, Qin Chuan's body was full of vitality again. The strength of Shiryu of the Rain is not something ordinary puppets can deal with. Even with 10 pairs of puppets, Qin Chuan still thinks that these puppets and the weapons in their hands cannot withstand the murderous Shiryu of the Rain at all. So he decided to switch back to Matekai and use physical skills to deal with Shiryu of the Rain's sword skills. Come on, let me see how strong you are. After Shiryu of the Rain finished speaking, he rushed towards Qin Chuan with a thunderstorm in hand. Baman Dunjia, Jingmun, Qin Chuan shouted. At this time, Matekai's body has emitted green energy, which filled every skin in his body in an instant. It made Qin Chuan feel very light. At this time, Shiryu of the Rain had already killed Qin Chuan. Go to hell, Shiryu of the Rain snorted coldly, and then the thunderstorm in his hand slashed towards Qin Chuan in front of him at top speed. The blade carried a powerful murderous aura as if it wanted to split the air into two sides. At this moment, Qin Chuan also moved. He dodged suddenly, and saw the thunderstorm's blade cut down from the edge of his sleeve. With this slash, the light of the knife shone in the entire dungeon, and the brilliance instantly illuminated the infinite hell. With a distance of less than 1 centimeter, the thunderstorm directly hit him. At the same time, when the thunderstorm struck, a deep crack instantly appeared on the entire floor. The floor tiles on both sides were immediately blown away by the thunderstorm's blade. Qin Chuan broke out in a cold sweat when he saw the knife marks on the ground. Even though he had opened the 6th door of the 8 Dunjia, Qin Chuan's speed was still almost behind the opponent's sword skills. At this time, Shiryu of the Rain on the opposite side was also very surprised. If the two sides fought at a long distance, it would not be very surprising that the other party could successfully dodge his own knife. But he had already rushed to Qin Chuan's side, and it was the first time in his life that he was able to escape his attack unscathed within such a short distance. But before he had time to think, Qin Chuan's attack had already struck. To the peacock. This is the skill that can be released after opening the 6th door in the 8 doors Dunjia. Its principle is to open the 8 doors and open the 6 doors, quickly improve the body function, and knock down the enemy with countless punches. The next moment, countless fists blasted towards Shiryu of the Rain from all directions. Because the speed of the fist was so fast, Qin Chuan's fist rubbed against the air and produced flames. This made these fists as bright as the sunrise, and a large number of flames scattered down, dazzling like peacock tail feathers. That's why this trick is called, towards the peacock. On the other hand, Shiryu of the Rain, when he was still unclear about the situation, he suffered intensive blows like raindrops all over his body. Boom. After only holding on for a few seconds, Shiryu of the Rain took more than 10 steps back because he really couldn't withstand Qin Chuan's fist attack. At this time, the black clothes dedicated to Imper prison personnel on his body had been burned by the flames with several big holes, and even his face was black and white, and he looked extremely embarrassed. Haha, Shiryu of the Rain, you are really useless. I didn't expect that the 2 aces of the famous Push City would lose to a prisoner in the Red Lotus Hell today. It would be ridiculous to spread the word. At this time, on the other side, a man with an ugly hat, a big sausage nose on his face, and always a drunken appearance leaned against the prison door and sneered leisurely. Baskchote, you talk too much nonsense. Shiryu of the Rain himself was very angry, and he was so passive in the first battle after he was released. Now when the prisoner who was detained here taunted him, his face immediately darkened, and then he suddenly raised thunderstorm towards the nearby Baskchote, who was leisurely watching the show in front of the cell door, slashed over. Chapter 11. How did Baskchote expect Shiryu of the Rain to make a sudden move, and now that he is handcuffed by the special Halu stone, his movements are naturally slow. So in the next moment, Shiryu of the Rain's blade slashed onto his arm in an instant. Ah! A painful howl instantly resounded throughout the 6th floor of infinite hell. Shiryu of the Rain, how dare you touch me? Basque Choate said angrily. You trash, if I hadn't been locked in this cage, wouldn't it be easy to kill someone like you? Then let me out, and I can squeeze you into meat paste with one hand. Hey, what are you talking about? I'm still here, so what? My name is Basque Choate, right? I heard that you were quite famous before. But in this situation, you should stop the bleeding on your arm first. I will deal with Shiryu of the Rain later, and then I will talk to you. You must persevere, and don't lose too much blood and die. Ah. Quote. Just as the two were sparring, Qin Chuan's words came over. At this time, Shiryu of the Rain also understood that his biggest opponent now was Qin Chuan, so he turned around again. Death to me, cut the waves. Shiryu of the Rain held up the thunderstorm, and then slammed it down. The next moment, a cyan wave shot straight along the floor towards Qin Chuan, who was standing not far away. 8-door Dunjia, shocking door. Jingmun is the last door before the door of death, and it is also the 7th door of the 8 Dunjia. When Qin Chuan let out this sound, his body began to emit blue steam rapidly from the evaporation of sweat. At this moment, his speed has almost reached the limit of the human body's own capacity. In Qin Chuan's eyes, the cyan wave bursting at high speed was like a soft wave. Qin Chuan flashed lightly, and then easily dodged Shiryu of the Rain's attack. Boom! Shiryu of the Rain's attack hit a high wall behind Qin Chuan directly, and instantly cut a huge gap. Okay, now it's my turn, Shiryu of the Rain, the game is over. Day Tiger! Qin Chuan roared into the sky, and the blue steam rose rapidly. The next moment, Qin Chuan compressed the surrounding air extremely quickly, and then spread it in one breath, forming an air cannon in the shape of a tiger in an instant. Shiryu of the Rain just blinked an eye, and the tiger-shaped air cannon had already appeared in front of his eyes. In just one breath, Qin Chuan's fist had already hit Shiryu of the Rain's face. Boom! Shiryu of the Rain flew out like a kite with a broken string. And the shock wave from the air cannon instantly shook from all sides. Even Domino, who was watching the battle from a distance, was knocked back a few steps by the shock wave. When she stood firm, blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Just the power generated by the shock wave of an attack has already injured her, which is enough to explain Qin Chuan's horror. After making this punch, Qin Chuan immediately received 2 system prompts. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 40,000 reputation rewards this time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 30,000 reputation rewards this time. In an instant, 2 messages of defeating the enemy popped up, which made Qin Chuan look confused. What, is it buy one get one free? Obviously, one of the 2 system prompt messages corresponds to Shiryu of the Rain, but the other should not be Dolino according to the reward level. Just now he gained 50,000 reputation points after defeating Magellan, and now he has gained another 70,000 reputation points at one time. Now Qin Chuan has transformed into a household of 100,000 yuan. According to the division of strength, it is impossible for Domino's strength to be comparable to Hannibal, so this system news must have nothing to do with Domino. But just when Qin Chuan was wondering, a pool of fresh blood suddenly flowed from the cell beside him. Qin Chuan glanced at it, and found that the owner of the pool of blood was Basque Choate, whose arm was chopped off by Shiryu of the Rain just now. I saw that Basque Choate had already collapsed in the cell where he was being held. His wide-eyed eyes revealed extreme unwillingness. Basque Choate never expected that he would die in this way in the end. After Shiryu of the Rain beheaded his arm just now, his physical condition began to decline rapidly. Later, when the shock wave released by Qin Chuan's Day Tiger hit him, it instantly shattered his internal organs. Then he died suddenly on the spot. It turns out that these imprisoned guys also have reputation rewards, so there are so many famous pirates imprisoned on the 6th floor, it seems that I will have a bumper harvest today. Qin Chuan was overjoyed. But he also knows that the 8-door Dunjia is extremely harmful. Theoretically speaking, there is no possibility of survival after the 8-door Dunjia has been opened to the 8th door, unless one has the aura of the protagonist. That's why Qin Chuan dared to only open the 7th door at this time. But even if the seventh door is opened, even if the body is slightly touched after the state is released, it will cause severe pain, so there is still a great danger to life. Before the startled door was closed, Qin Chuan slowly walked up to Domino. At this time, the pirates around who were shaken by Qin Chuan's shock wave began to shout. They had seen and felt the strength of Qin Chuan with their own eyes, and it was obvious that Qin Chuan was the only man who could bring them out of Jincheng City. A few years ago, the Golden Lion Shiji was able to escape, so they must be able to escape as well. Therefore, all the world-famous big pirates around started shouting at Qin Chuan. I am Abalo Pizarro, rescue me, I am willing to be your strongest crew member. At this time, a man wearing a long white and dark brown fur coat and light purple necklace, the man with cat-like eyes slammed on the cell door and shouted. Qin Chuan recognized the other party. This person was the guy who was rescued by Blackbeard when he came in and became his crew member. His strength was similar to that of Basque Chote, who was shocked to death just now. Then, Qin Chuan came to Domino. At this time, Domino's expression was tense, and the sweat on her forehead was already slowly flowing down the brim of her hat. Obviously, it is impossible for her to resist Qin Chuan at this time. Bring the key. Don't even think about it. Snapped. After a brief conversation, Qin Chuan slapped Domino directly in the face. The next moment, Domino's whole head hit the wall beside him and passed out. Don't even think about it. Your strength is beeping here with me. Isn't this just asking for trouble? Qin Chuan snorted softly, then squatted down and untied the keychain tied around her waist. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 15,000 reputation rewards this time. The system message that popped up this time was related to that Domino. After getting the keychain, the surrounding shouts became louder. Then, Qin Chuan came to the prison door of Abaro Pizarro, who dared to spank himself rainbow farts. With a click, the prison door was opened. At this moment, Abalo Pizarro saw Qin Chuan as if seeing a savior. He looked at Qin Chuan in front of him with fiery eyes and said, "Brother, let me out, and I will help you get the legendary treasure." "I'm sorry, buddy, I want your reputation more than letting you follow me." "What reputation value? I don't have anything on me. If you don't believe me, search it." Abaro Pizarro called Qin Chuan in a daze. "You didn't have it just now, but now you have it." As soon as Qin Chuan's voice fell, there was a burst of painful groans in Abaro Pizarro's cell. After a while, Qin Chuan walked out of the cell door. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 30,000 reputation rewards this time. Originally, the prisoners on the 6th floor of Infinite Hell were still in a state of jealousy and excitement, but after Qin Chuan's sudden move, the scene suddenly fell into a deathly silence. The entire passageway of the prison was so quiet that even everyone's breathing could be heard clearly. The next moment, Qin Chuan came to Katrine, who was still yelling just now. Katrine Diame, known as the Crescent Hunter, suddenly felt an ominous premonition when she saw Qin Chuan approaching with a smile. "What do you want to do?" After seeing Qin Chuan open her cell door, Katrine Diame couldn't help but speak. "Didn't I say, I want reputation points? Sound, prestige value. You tell me how to give it to you, and I can give it to you right now." "Then thank you." After Qin Chuan finished speaking, he kicked directly at Katrine Diame, who was wearing handcuffs and anklets. Boom! There was another loud noise, and Katrine Diame was kicked by Qin Chuan before she even groaned and passed out. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 30,000 reputation rewards this time. After seeing Qin Chuan beat Nakatrin Diame to death again, the prisoners on the 6th floor became lively. God, who will tell me, what does that guy want? Why does he want to beat someone? What the hell is reputation? I have nothing but mud all over me. Why is this guy even more ruthless than those guys in the Navy? He hits people if he doesn't agree with him. Although everyone was complaining, Qin Chuan didn't take it seriously, and still opened the cell doors with the keychain and taught each other a lesson. For a moment, the entire 6th floor of Infinite Hell is like a purgatory on Earth. When Qin Chuan came to the last cell in this passage, a deep voice came from inside. "Don't open the door, or you will die." Hearing this voice, Qin Chuan was also taken aback for a moment. He hadn't expected that there would be such tough people in the 6th floor prison. He had seen many famous pirates along the way just now, especially the later crew members of Blackbeard were also beaten by Qin Chuan one by one until they lost their way. But now the identity of the pirate made Qin Chuan curious. Could it be that there are still some stubbles in this 6th level of infinite hell? With curiosity, Qin Chuan slowly pushed the cell door open. But when the cell door was pushed open, a middle-aged man suddenly jumped out of the darkness. The middle-aged man was tall and strong, with long blonde hair, wearing an old military uniform and rushed towards Qin Chuan fiercely. The next moment, when he rushed to Qin Chuan, he raised the Halu stone iron handcuffs in his hands and was about to smash them down on Qin Chuan's head. Overestimating one's abilities, Qin Chuan snorted softly. Then lift your feet gently. Boom. The pain spread throughout the man's body in an instant, so that he had to kneel on the ground in the next second. Still crazy. Facing Qin Chuan's rhetorical question, the man roared again, and then made a gesture to stand up and launch a second attack towards Qin Chuan. Boom. Qin Chuan kicked again, this time it was much stronger than before. The man who fell to the ground in an instant spat out a mouthful of blood, and the violent coughing made him unable to breathe at all. If you have the ability, kill me. Even in the face of this predicament, the man still stared at Qin Chuan with a look of death. Seeing such a stubborn person made Qin Chuan interested. Being imprisoned on the 6th floor of Advancing City, wearing a military uniform and having long golden hair, could it be that you are the legendary, Devil's Descendant, Douglas Barrett? Qin Chuan suddenly said in surprise after a lot of talking about the other party. When he heard that Qin Chuan actually recognized him, Douglas Barrett was also taken aback immediately. He has disappeared from this world for too long, so long that even the high command of the Navy forgot that there is such a terrifying guy in the city of Advance. But right now, this young guy actually recognized him, which made him feel very surprised. You actually know me, it seems that you are really not simple. Douglas Barrett struggled to get up and said. Qin Chuan was quite surprised when he saw that the other party admitted that he was Douglas Barrett. After all, he also thought that this guy was dead. Douglas Barrett was a member of the Roger Pirates. It is so powerful that even the companions of the Roger Pirates call it a monster. He was once known as the ghost-grinding descendant, a man who overwhelmed others with overwhelming strength. He is a powerful person comparable to the Pluto Rayleigh, who is the right arm of the One Piece, so his strength actually far surpasses other pirates on this level. But because they were all locked by the Sea Tower stone handcuffs unique to Jinjin City, all their own abilities could not be used. In addition, Qin Chuan used the 7th of the 8 Dunjias, which was almost destroyed, to deal with everyone, so these people were so vulnerable in front of Qin Chuan. Douglas Barrett, I know you very well, so I actually appreciate you now. Now I will give you 2 ways to go, one way to follow me, and I will take you away from this dark place. The second way, you are defeated by me, and you will be imprisoned here forever, and you will never stand up, you decide for yourself. Quote. After thinking twice, Qin Chuan decided to extend an olive branch. This Douglas Barrett's strength is much stronger than other people himself, even Pluto Rayleigh can't defeat him, so if he has such a strong crew by his side, then Qin Chuan's strength will be strengthened not a lot. Now that he is on the opposite side of the world government, he will face many dangers in the future, and if there is such a powerful guy to run errands for him, Qin Chuan will not have to do many things himself. It's ridiculous, you little hairy kids are worthy of my following. I'm afraid you've lost your mind. Douglas Barrett didn't have any thoughts of wanting to thank Qin Chuan, but sarcastically said on the spot. After all, he is a guy from the ancient times, and his strength is so terrifying. Although Qin Chuan defeated him at this stage, he is now in a state of incapacity, so naturally he will not be convinced. And what these great pirates admired most was force. Whoever was stronger would have the right to speak, so even if Qin Chuan wanted to rescue him, he didn't buy it. I know that you only believe in your own strength, and you want to become the One Piece more than anyone else. But you are different from others. Most people want to become One Piece for the so-called treasure, but you are not. Because you hope that you can get the title of One Piece through fighting, even if you tell you Roger's treasure, that is, Ralph Drew's permanent record pointer, you are unwilling to follow Roger's old path. Your wish is to surpass Roger and become the strongest in the world, and kill all the strong men in the sea, that is, all the 4 emperors and generals, right? Quote. Qin Chuan's words hit Douglas Barrett's heart like a bolt from the blue, so that he couldn't calm down for a long time. What Qin Chuan said was so true, he was like a roundworm in his stomach. If Qin Chuan hadn't come from the basement prison, he would have thought that Qin Chuan had heard his sleep talk while he was dreaming and talking nonsense. Looking at Douglas Barrett, who hadn't spoken for a long time, Qin Chuan knew that what he said was absolutely right. If you want to become the One Piece and defeat the strongest guys in the world, then you should follow me even more. Because my idea is also to defeat the strongest person in the world, and then stand on top of the world. So you can fight on the battlefield with me, and when we finally stand at the top of this world together, the 2 of us will have a final duel, how about that? Quote. Qin Chuan took advantage of the fact that Douglas Barrett was still struggling inside and struck again while the iron was hot. On the other hand, Douglas Barrett is also very clear about what he is going through now. He is not the Golden Lion, Sky, so he has no ability to escape here. In addition, if he does not escape this time, the defense force here will be upgraded again after the Navy government comes to support. At that time, I am afraid that Shiji will not be able to escape even if he is reborn. So after thinking about it for a while, he finally made an important decision. May I have your name? Qin Chuan. You take me out, I am willing to follow you temporarily and guarantee your personal safety, but one day, we really stand on top of the world as you said, then your biggest opponent will become me. Douglas Barrett said seriously. No problem, deal. After Qin Chuan finished speaking, he stretched out his hand. Afterwards, Douglas Barrett slowly stretched out his hand. The 2 had a worldwide handshake and cooperation in this advancing city. But at this moment, a system voice suddenly came from Qin Chuan's mind. Ding, the time to use the character card of Matekai has expired, and the original state of the host is now restored, please pay attention to the host. As soon as the voice fell, Qin Chuan quickly returned to his original state. And although the role of Matekai has disappeared, he has to bear the damage caused by Matekai's opening of the 8 doors of armor. After all, Matekai used his body to fight, so Qin Chuan's body would suffer any substantial damage. As soon as the Bamindunjia was closed, Qin Chuan quickly collapsed. Qin Chuan's physical condition is not as good as that of Matekai, so he felt a piercing pain all over his body as soon as he recovered. The pain invaded Qin Chuan's brain in an instant, so that he had to cover his head and sit slumped on the ground. At this time, Douglas Barrett, who was sitting opposite, was also taken aback. Why did Qin Chuan, who was still showing a strong fighting state, suddenly become sluggish at the sight? Qin Chuan, are you okay? HMPH, I'm fine, it's just that I have some sequelae after experiencing a high-intensity battle just now, just wait for a while to rest. While speaking, Qin Chuan endured the severe pain and threw the keychain in his hand to Douglas Barrett. In fact, the current Qin Chuan is actually quite fragile, any ordinary pirate can kill him if he comes over. But he still trusted Douglas Barrett so much at this juncture, mainly because the other party was a big pirate following Roger. This kind of people actually have faith in their hearts, and they will never go back on what they promised, so Qin Chuan is not very worried that the other party will turn back and kill him. Sure enough, after receiving the key, Douglas Barrett untied the handcuffs and anklets immediately, and then raised his head to the sky and let out a loud roar of venting. Immediately afterwards, he walked directly to Qin Chuan's side, grabbed his arm and carried it on his back. Okay, don't worry about the next thing, rest at ease, I will lead you to push the city forward. Douglas Barrett replied lightly, and maybe it was because Douglas Barrett gave him a great sense of security, or maybe it was because he was so tired, Qin Chuan completely passed out before he could reply. After sleeping for an unknown amount of time, Qin Chuan slowly opened his eyes. Seeing himself lying on a soft bed surrounded by a small indoor space, Qin Chuan immediately sat up. At this time, the feeling of fatigue hit instantly, and Qin Chuan couldn't help but take a deep breath. Let me go, the sequelae of the 8 sects of Dunjia are too strong, right? Although the strength of this thing is really powerful, and it only opened the 7th door to play all the 2 trump cards in the city, but it also almost killed him. If he hadn't conquered Douglas Barrett at the last moment, he might have been killed by others after he passed out. Thinking of this, Qin Chuan got up and pushed open the door. As soon as the door was pushed open, a strong sunlight shone on his face. At this time, there is an endless sea outside. I'm on a boat, Qin Chuan whispered. Are you awake, Captain Qin Chuan? At this time, Douglas Barrett himself was standing on the railing of the bow. And he also kept his promise, not only brought Qin Chuan out, but also began to honor him as the captain. The title of captain is not just called casually. For pirates like them, calling the other party their own captain is to recognize the other party's strength and leadership status. Where is this place? Qin Chuan dragged his tired body to his side. A certain place in the East China Sea. I don't really know the exact location, because I'm really not familiar with such a weak place. If I hadn't met the Navy's support force when I escaped, I would have taken you directly to the New World. Quote. Douglas Barrett explains. Navy support force. Who's coming? Hearing what Douglas Barrett said, Qin Chuan also became interested. He also wanted to know what the Navy's attitude was after he made such a fuss. Lieutenant General Garp and General Kuzan. Hearing these two voices, Qin Chuan was also taken aback. Cap is the most prestigious in the Navy, with the title of Naval Hero, and he is also a figure of the era of Roger and Douglas Barrett. Even though his military rank is only an ordinary lieutenant general, he has the greatest strength and the right to speak in the Navy headquarters, and even the martial warring states has to act according to his face. Kuzan's Navy codename is Aokiji, who possesses the ability of natural frozen fruits, and is extremely powerful. He is a student of the former Navy Admiral Zepha and is also one of the highest, 3 major forces, in the Navy. Being able to force both the naval hero and the highest combat power to go out at the same time shows that the opponent attaches great importance to Qin Chuan. And this is why Douglas Barrett resolutely chose to flee when facing these navies. After all, he has just escaped from Push City, and his own strength has not fully recovered. Coupled with the strength of the Navy's lineup, even if he goes all out, he will definitely not be the opponent of Garp and Kuzan. So in order to avoid danger, he turned around and fled to the East China Sea. Thanks to Garp and others, they were worried that advancing the city would be a mess. If they chased Qin Chuan at this time, it would not be worth the loss. Therefore, Garp issued an order not to pursue Qin Chuan at a critical moment, but asked all the warships to sail to the deep sea in the big prison. In the warden's office on the 4th floor of the deep-sea prison, Garp sat in Magellan's seat with a solemn face, while Kuzan stood quietly on the side. And Magellan and the high-level people in the prison also stood in front of him lined up. At this time, they were all wearing a lot of bandages, and at the same time, they were all bruised and purple everywhere, looking extremely embarrassed. The status of Magellan itself can be equal to that of a vice admiral or even an admiral. After all, the 3 ace institutions of Advancing City, Judicial Island and the Navy are all affiliated to the world government. Therefore, as the supreme commander of the Advancing City, Magellan's status is actually not low. But this time he made such a big mess, so he couldn't say much when facing the rescue force sent by the Navy. In addition, the strength and reputation of Garp are ranked first in the world government, so as a junior, he naturally has to respect the other party. Have all the prisoners in the 6-story prison been locked up? Ku said in a deep voice. All of them have been imprisoned, and the casualties are still being counted. Except for some small characters, in the infinite hell on the 6th floor, Vask Chode has been killed, and the other big pirates have also suffered. Seriously injured, and besides. At this time, Domino Wei, who is the warden, reported. What else? Garp frowned slightly. In addition, Douglas Barrett ran away with that prisoner named Qin Chuan. What? Douglas Barrett ran away. After hearing this voice, Garp slapped his entire palm on the table like a bolt from the blue. After he got angry, everyone at the scene suddenly became tense. Especially Hannibal, who was known for shooting dead, was already shaking, fearing that he would be held accountable. Is that guy strong? At this time, Kuzan on the side also became curious. After all, it was the first time he saw Garp lose his composure. He has been invincible since he was 15 years old and wandering in the sea. After fighting hundreds of times, he is undefeated. And at that time, he met Roger and lost to him. In the end, he has been wandering the world with Roger. Later, after Roger's incident, he left the Roger pirates and started working alone, and turned the whole sea upside down. At that time, the Navy actually had nothing to do with him. Until he was 22 years old, because we obtained the secret information about him in advance, almost the entire Navy was dispatched at that time, and Sengoku and I were the vanguards to have a world-renowned duel with him. Later, because he was physically weak and the Navy team was too strong, he was jointly defeated by us and imprisoned here. Although so many years have passed, our strength should not be underestimated, and we have trained you generals, but we still cannot take it lightly. Cap recalled. Although many years have passed in a flash, the scene of his battle with Douglas Barrett is still vivid in his memory, and this guy is one of the few pirates who made him use his full strength. After listening to Carp's introduction, many people present gasped. Many people here are actually very young. When Douglas Barrett became famous, they might still be wearing crotch pants, so they are naturally not very familiar with this guy. After seeing Lieutenant General Garp, the strong man of that era, say this now, everyone immediately felt that it was a very bad thing for Douglas Barrett to escape. Coupled with the fact that Chin Chuan who came out of nowhere with him, this caused everyone a headache. Forget it, I will personally report this matter to the higher-ups. You can rest assured to recuperate here. In addition, I will send a few heavy-fire warships here to deal with any emergencies. Okay, Magellan nodded solemnly after listening. And soon, Chin Chuan's prison escape shocked the whole world. In the highest level meeting of the Navy headquarters, the generals of Vice Admiral and above gathered together, and the person who presided over this meeting was the Admiral of the Navy, Sengoku. Who can tell me, what is the identity of this guy Chin Chuan, and why a prisoner who was imprisoned in the first floor of Red Lotus Hell turned the city upside down? Warring States was the first to ask. But what he said seems to be nonsense, because other people also don't know Chin Chuan's background, let alone where he came from. No matter what his identity or background is, any pirates who threaten the world should die. I can personally lead the Navy to capture them back. At this time, a man had many tattoos on his body, a sword on his right arm, roses and cherry blossoms on his left chest to his elbow, a corsage, a dark red suit, a navy cap on his head, and wearing black leather gloves. The man behind him wearing an admiral's coat spoke calmly with a cigar in his mouth. Sakazuki, that kid is very powerful, even Magellan and Shilu of the Rain are no match for him. As soon as the man finished speaking, the short black hair sitting opposite him was a little curly. Wearing a pair of sunglasses, with a circle of stubble on his face, the tall and thin man, wearing a yellow and white striped suit, purple tie, and dark green shirt, said slowly. These two are the Red Dog, Sakazuki and the Yellow Ape, Pelusalino of the Navy's 3 great powers. Things are far from that simple. The other party still has Douglas Barrett. Even though that guy has been imprisoned for 20 years, he still cannot be underestimated. The one with gray hair on the side also wore a simple ponytail to the shoulders, all the hair was combed behind the head, leaving the forehead, and a pair of emerald green earrings were worn on the ears. Wearing 2 gold bracelets on his right hand and wearing a vice admiral's coat, the old man replied calmly. And she was a great figure who was as famous as Warring States and Garp, and at the same time as Douglas Barrett, Lieutenant General he. Because she had fought against Douglas Barrett before, she knew the other party's terrifying strength better than these juniors. HMPH, Lieutenant General he, the times have changed. Our Navy is now at its strongest. Even those guys from the New World are nothing to be afraid of. After being refuted by the two of them in turn, Sakazuki said indifferently. Okay, Sakazuki, since you are so confident, you will lead a naval force to the East China Sea immediately to find their whereabouts. In this way, one can deter the other party, and the other is to show the attitude of our Navy to the world in a disguised form. Although we are not responsible for the incident in Advanced City this time, the senior officials of the world government are also very dissatisfied with us. Especially when our naval support force arrived at the city of Advance, it also released 2 major suspects, so the higher-ups also asked us to deal with this matter as soon as possible, so as to appease the people's livelihood. Quote. Sengoku finished speaking and glanced at Garp next to him. And Garp was picking his booger there like no one else. Obviously, Warring States was sulking at Garp, and he decided to give up chasing Qin Chuan without authorization at that time, which led to everyone being in a passive situation now. But I can't help this old friend, so he can only sulk. HMPH, I'd like to see what kind of waves the outdated guy can turn up. Ghost Spider, Flying Squirrel, and Doberman, you three prepare for it, and then each lead a warship to wait at Marin Vanduo Harbor. Sakazuki spoke to the people around him. The three people named by him immediately stood up and walked out of the conference room. These three are all lieutenant generals in the Navy headquarters, and they are extremely powerful, and they can be said to be the strongest combat power under the admiral. So Sakazuki is determined to win with 3 lieutenant generals this time. On the other hand, all over the world, everyone is talking about Qin Chuan's escape from prison this time. Because there was such a big commotion in the city, it naturally attracted the attention of the giant, Morgans, in the dark world. Morgans is a bird fruit albatross for mobility user and the president of the World Economic News Agency. His main business is to inquire about various news and then publish newspapers. And because he is the president of the World Economic News Agency, he is known as the most well-informed guy. When Qin Chuan escaped from prison, he actually bribed the surviving jailers in the advancing city immediately, and obtained the first-hand video of Qin Chuan's battle. After watching the video of the battle in Qinchuan, Morgan seemed to have discovered a new world, and then wrote the alarmist headline, "The new emperor ascends the throne, the times have changed," in his newspaper. Under the title, Morgans described Qin Chuan single-handedly attacking the entire advancing city in just half a day based on the video and its exaggerated techniques, and finally brought Douglas Barrett to the naval support the troops left advance city under the watchful eyes of everyone. And the contents of this newspaper quickly spread all over the world, and it caused a huge panic and discussion for a while. Everyone was talking about this guy who suddenly appeared in front of the world, but Qin Chuan was unaware of all this. After a small warship they took docked at a certain port in the East China Sea, the two of them came to this place called Borg Town. And when he walked into the town, Qin Chuan was stunned for a moment. I saw a special flag hanging on the streets of this small town. This flag is a pair of intertwined skulls with a red shark with a sharp beak in the middle. The whole flag looks very weird, it doesn't look like the kind of flag used by serious people at all. Isn't this the place under the jurisdiction of the Navy? It should be flying the seagull flag, which symbolizes peace, right? Qin Chuan muttered. Even in the East China Sea, there are quite a few islands under the control of the pirates, and this flag seems to be a special flag of a certain pirates. And the reason why they dare to hang up this flag so blatantly is that they have already occupied this place. Quote. Douglas Barrett analyzed. HMPH, it seems that the Navy is really useless. Even a small East China Sea can't be controlled. It's impossible to rely on them to conquer the New World. Actually, I can't blame them. If you want to blame it, you can blame my captain for what he said before the execution. Since then, countless people have poured into this ocean one after another and become pirates. And the Navy itself has limited manpower, and it is impossible for them to station soldiers on all the islands in the world, so as soon as the Navy troops leave, these pirates floating on the sea will take advantage of it. Quote. Qin Chuan nodded in agreement after listening, and he also felt a little impressed by this pattern after a closer look, but he couldn't recall it for a while. In addition, there are no decent pirates in the East China Sea, so it's not surprising that Qin Chuan didn't know about it. Go into that tavern and have a drink or two. After walking 2 steps, Douglas Barrett suggested after finding the only tavern in the town. People in the pirate world themselves like to drink, let alone big pirates like them. After being imprisoned for 20 years, it is already a miracle not to get sick, so after landing on the shore, Douglas Barrett in the first place, he aimed at the nearby tavern. And Qin Chuan actually wanted to taste how the wine in pirate world tasted. Then the two walked into the tavern. After entering the tavern, Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett suddenly felt that something was wrong with the atmosphere. There are quite a few people gathered here at this time, and all of them are all Murlocs without exception. The Murlocs have the characteristics of half human and half fish in appearance, breathing with lungs on land and gills in water. Most of the Murlocs live on the 10,000-meter underwater paradise, Murloc Island, which is actually not common in other places, because Murlocs are often discriminated against by some humans because of their appearance. so they rarely communicate or get along with humans. But now there are so many murlocs on this unknown island, which made both of them a little confused. And these murlocs immediately turned their attention to Qin Chuan after they came in. It's a bit strange that there are so many murlocs here, Qin Chuan said lightly. It's okay, they are all small characters. If you want, I can kill all these guys in an instant. No need, our target is not these small characters. Qin Chuan signaled to Douglas Barrett on the spot not to kill innocent people indiscriminately. After all, he doesn't like to kill people everywhere. Then the two came to the bar and sat down. What do you two want? The tavern owner at the bar immediately asked with a smile on his face. 2 glasses of rum, Douglas Barrett said after glancing at the wine on the wine cabinet. Qin Chuan didn't know much about the wine here, so he didn't have any objection after seeing Douglas Barrett ordering a glass of rum for himself. Just as the tavern owner was going backstage to prepare wine, suddenly a sharp-mouthed murloc at a table in the tavern stood up, and then walked straight to the two of them. Did you two come from outside? The sharp-billed murloc put one hand on Qin Chuan's shoulder and the other on Douglas Barrett's shoulder and said leisurely. What's the matter, is there any problem? Qin Chuan turned around and looked at the other party in doubt. Haha, do you know whose territory this is? The sharp-billed murloc laughed wildly. Whose territory? Have you heard of the dragon pirates? This is the territory of our dragon pirates. The murloc said proudly. Hey, it turned out to be the dragon pirates. I said why the sign hanging outside the town is so familiar. It turned out to be the pirates led by that trash. After the other party said this, Qin Chuan suddenly realized. The leader of the dragon pirates himself is a murloc, and he was one of the former cadres of the Sun Pirates. Later, after breaking away from the Sun Pirates, he established his own pirate group. When he returned from the Great Route with his pirate group, the evil dragon began his plan to dominate the East China Sea. Immediately afterwards, he attacked large and small villages in the East China Sea, and quickly occupied more than 20 villages, including Kokoja village, Nami's hometown, and established his own Dragon Empire on Kokoja village. And Douglas Barrett on the side had been imprisoned for 20 years, so naturally he didn't know what was going on in the outside world. Is this dragon pirate group strong? It is known as the strongest pirate group in the East China Sea, but the leader's bounty is 20 million berries. What do you think? After listening to Qin Chuan's explanation, Douglas Barrett almost swears. 20 million berry, the price of one finger of his is more than that, and this is already the pirate group with the highest bounty in the East China Sea, which shows how weak the pirates here are. Hey, boy, what did you just say? That the boss of our dragon pirates is a waste. It seems that you are tired of working. The sharp-mouthed murloc immediately sank when he saw the seemingly ordinary young man uttering wild words. At the same time, the other murlocs in the tavern also stood up after hearing Qin Chuan's words. Douglas Barrett, I haven't seen you make a move yet. I've always heard that you are very powerful. If you don't mind, why don't you show your hands here? At this time, Qin Chuan suddenly suggested. Although he can also gain reputation points if he defeats these small characters with his own hands, this will inevitably consume the number of times he uses his possession. The exchange condition for possession use times is 1000 reputation points, and if you want to waste a chance to possess for these little people in front of you, Qin Chuan may not be able to get the 1000 reputation points even if you kill them all. And now, although he has gained more than 400,000 reputation points in the promotion city, this reputation point is not enough to exchange for a character card of Senshujujian. So he naturally didn't want to do these thankless things. In addition, he was also very curious about the strength of the guy he recruited to be said to be comparable to Pluto, Rayleigh. After listening to Qin Chuan's words, Douglas Barrett sneered. You're just insulting me. After Douglas Barrett finished speaking, without waiting for Qin Chuan to reply, he immediately rushed forward and moved directly in front of the sharp-mouthed murloc. The next moment, before the sharp-billed murloc could react, Douglas Barrett's hands had already turned jet black. Immediately afterwards, his seemingly extremely hard fist hit the sharp-billed murloc's face in an instant. Boom! After a muffled sound, the sharp-billed murloc flew out of the tavern in an instant. Kill him! The other murlocs around shouted after seeing this. But before they could make a move, Douglas Barrett had rushed into the crowd of fish. After a while, all the murlocs in the tavern fell to the ground, and none of them showed any signs of life. This scene also made the tavern owner who came out with 2 glasses of rum froze in shock. Douglas Barrett, who was walking back slowly, took the beer from the tavern owner with both hands and handed it to Chin Chuan. Hey, are you exaggerating too much? Use armed domineering to deal with a few small characters. Chin Chuan smiled after taking the beer. Armed color domineering is one of the 3 kinds of domineering. It is domineering that can improve its own defense and attack power, and can capture the flowing body of nature. In other words, armed domineering can hurt a guy with a natural devil fruit, so it can be seen how terrifying it is to have this kind of domineering. And when Douglas Barrett's skin turned bright black, Chin Chuan knew that he had used this armed color domineering. Because the biggest sign of armed domineering is that it can make the host's whole body become as tough as steel. HMPH, it seems that you also know the domineering color of the armed forces. If you ask me to show off my strength, I'll show you a little bit, so that you can know how strong people in our era are. Douglas Barrett said casually after taking a sip of wine. HMPH, I know a lot of things. For example, I don't think it will be long before that guy named Evil Dragon will come here with his group of stinky fish and rotten shrimps to trouble us. After Chin Chuan finished speaking, he took a sip of the rum, but it almost hit his throat. Is this thing so strong? Haha, it seems that you are too young. Rum is one of the strongest alcohols in the world, but I can drink several large glasses of rum when I was 15 years old. Seeing Chin Chuan's reaction, Douglas Barrett finally couldn't help laughing. Cut, it's boring. Chin Chuan tried 2 sips again, and found that the real motai was better, so Deng even put the wine glass on the table. At this time, the owner of the tavern, who came back to his senses, hurriedly said, You two, you should hurry up, and when the cadres of the dragon pirates come over, you won't be able to leave. It's late, he's already here. After smiling slightly, he stood up and stretched himself. And Douglas Barrett drank the rum in the wooden glass in one gulp. Then, the 2 walked out of the tavern. When the 2 walked out of the tavern, the entire street was empty, and at the end of the road stood several murlocs with weapons. Obviously, they have sealed off the town. City closure. This pirate group is really big. Douglas Barrett couldn't help but sneer after seeing it. Let's go. Chin Chuan patted him on the shoulder, and then the 2 started walking towards the port. Stop, if you come here again, don't blame us for being rude. A sharp-mouthed murloc holding a spear yelled at the 2 of them. But the next moment, Douglas Barrett had already moved. Without any suspense, a few more corpses were left at the scene. At this time, the people in the houses on both sides of the street saw this with their own eyes from the windows and couldn't help but gasp. In their eyes, the evil dragon is a demon, but in their eyes, the man in front of them is infinitely more terrifying than a demon. When the 2 were about to reach the port, a flag with a pair of skeletons staggered together and a red shark with a sharp beak in the middle appeared on the shore of the port. The action is quite fast. Chin Chuan said with a playful smile. Forget it, let's treat it as doing good deeds for the Navy, maybe we can be awarded a good pirate award someday. Douglas Barrett said casually. At this time, after the pirate ship docked, more than 10 pirates jumped off the ship immediately. Chief among these was a murloc with a long, sharp, jagged nose and an open casual shirt. On the open chest, the sun logo representing the Sun Pirates is engraved on the left, and the logo representing the Dragon Pirates is engraved on the left forearm. Obviously, this person is the captain of the Dragon Pirates, the Dragon. On the left and right of him stood a man with 2 trumpet-like mouths and 6 arms. He had a very pleasing appearance and was very simple and honest. He had many strands of silver gray hair, and the center of his forehead was engraved to represent Sun Pirates. The sun symbol of the murloc. This murloc is Xiao Ba, the murloc rescued by Wang Lufei later, and now he is one of the cadres of the Dragon Pirates. The other is a cartilaginous murloc with 2 soaring cannon heads pierced, and the sun symbol representing the Sun Pirates engraved on the right chest. This person is also one of the cadres of the Dragon Pirates, Kruby. As for them, there are a group of young men from the Dragon Pirates behind them. What are you two? How dare you come to my territory to make trouble? It seems that you are tired of work. The evil dragon reprimanded immediately after landing on the shore. My name is Douglas Barrett, do you know me? Douglas Barrett spoke calmly. Bah, Barrett, The evil dragon was stunned for a moment when he heard the name, and then hesitated on the spot. He also read the World Journal this morning, which impressively stated that the great pirate, Douglas Barrett, from Roger's era and a young man had teamed up to escape from the heavily guarded deep-sea prison Propulsion City. And now the other party actually claims to be Douglas Barrett, and then look at the young man next to him, isn't it the prison escaper on the headlines of the newspaper? Thinking of this, the evil dragon couldn't help swallowing. This time he encountered a hard stubble. Although I am very happy here, but after all, there are no strong people in the nearby villages, so he is like a fish in water. But now that he was going to face two guys with absolute strength, the evil dragon began to feel weak. Boss, do you want to kill them? At this moment, the iron-headed Kruby asked coldly after seeing that the dragon didn't speak. He didn't read today's newspaper, and he was not familiar with Douglas Barrett, so he naturally didn't notice the terror of the other party. After hearing what Kruby said, the dragon's face turned green. But right now he couldn't admit defeat in front of so many younger brothers, so at this moment he had no choice but to bite the bullet and say, "What are you two doing here?" "It's nothing, I just passed by for a drink, and a murloc called the dragon pirates came over to provoke us, and then things became like this." Qin Chuan folded his hands on his chest and said quietly. "Then it seems that this matter is a misunderstanding. You guys go away, I don't want to do anything today." The evil dragon tentatively said this. At this moment, how much he hoped that Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett could leave here like this. In this way, he can hold his face a little bit. However, it was obvious that he was thinking too much. "Go ahead, you kneel down and kowtow 3 times before I talk." Qin Chuan was furious when he heard the sound. Even Qin Chuan couldn't stand the deeds that the evil dragon was doing around here. In the end, this guy still said such arrogant words, which is simply an insult to Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett. Hearing that the other party wanted to kowtow 3 times, the evil dragon's face instantly collapsed. On the other side, Kruby couldn't bear it anymore. He rushed towards Qin Chuan in front of him with one stride. The next moment, when he quickly rushed to Qin Chuan's side, he suddenly stretched out his right fist. However, Qin Chuan stood there with a smile on his face, motionless. Just when Kruby's fist was about to hit Qin Chuan, suddenly his outstretched fist stopped in place. At this time, his fist was only 10 centimeters away from Qin Chuan's face. And this 10-centimeter distance has become a gully that he will never be able to cross. In the next second, Kruby couldn't help but spat out a mouthful of blood, and then looked at the fist that hit him in the stomach with an incredulous look. Just when he was about to speak, he found that he didn't even have the strength to speak. Then, he fell straight backwards in full view of everyone. Seeing this scene, everyone in the dragon pirates behind him was shocked. They never expected that the opponent's strength would be so terrifying. Even the leading dragon was about to turn around and run away. "Okay, don't waste time, kill them all," Qin Chuan ordered calmly. These guys are running amok around here, so Qin Chuan actually hopes to get rid of these pirates who are harming one side from the bottom of his heart. After listening to Qin Chuan's order, Douglas Barrett's expression turned cold, and then murderous aura burst out from his eyes. At this time, the evil dragon also understood that this time he was in danger, and it was impossible to leave safely. He immediately took out the regenerative teeth in his mouth and shouted at the murlocs behind him, "Kill them!" But just as they were sprinting, Douglas Barrett let out a loud shout, and immediately released the momentum on his body. The next moment, a streak of blue gas burst out from his body towards the surroundings. And the evil dragon and others were instantly blown away after touching the blue gas. Overlord looked domineering. Qin Chuan was also secretly shocked after seeing this scene. He knew that this Douglas Barrett possessed 3-color arrogance, but it was the first time Qin Chuan had seen him be able to use the Overlord color arrogance so skillfully. Overlord-like domineering is a kind of kingly qualification. People with Overlord-like domineering can intimidate and deter opponents without making a move, and can also feint opponents who are much weaker than themselves. It is different from knowledge-colored domineering and armed-colored domineering in that domineering-looking domineering is innate. It can neither be acquired nor inherited, it can only be determined by one's own fate. It can be seen that Douglas Barrett has completely mastered the domineering arrogance in his body. At this time, the evil dragon struggled to get up from the ground, and several scars had already appeared on his body, and these scars were also bestowed by Douglas Barrett. Not to mention the others, most of the Murlocs were so shocked by this domineering aura that they bled to death on the spot. Even Xiao Ba, who is a cadre, was lying on the ground half dead at this time. This time, only the evil dragon with a moderate strength was left in the audience, barely able to stand up. But at this time, he no longer had the demeanor of the past at all, the blood from the corner of his mouth kept flowing out, and he looked extremely embarrassed. "You too, can you give me a way to survive?" the evil dragon said with difficulty. "Kneel down," Qin Chuan ordered lightly as he walked up and down. After hearing Qin Chuan's order, the evil dragon knelt down on the spot without any hesitation. "Can you let me go now?" After kneeling down, the evil dragon lost all dignity, and then looked up at Qin Chuan eagerly and asked, "When you killed innocent people in these villages before, did you ever think about letting those villagers go?" I didn't kill innocent people indiscriminately, I just want to protect them from being bullied by other pirates who burned, killed and looted." After listening to Qin Chuan's accusation, the evil dragon quickly defended himself. "You are greedy and cruel, and you are addicted to money. Not only did you attack the nearby villages, but you also collude with the high-level navy. That Colonel Mouse is also your lackey, am I right?" When Qin Chuan said about the mouse colonel, the dragon's pupils dilated instantly, and then looked at Qin Chuan with an incredulous look. Obviously, he was surprised how this young man who had never masked himself knew so many things about himself. "Don't you have anything to say? Be good, close your eyes, it won't hurt." After Qin Chuan finished speaking, he glanced at Douglas Barrett beside him. "No." Seeing this, the evil dragon hurriedly begged for mercy. But it was too late. After successfully beheading the dragon, Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett once again boarded the naval warship he drove. And when they were landing on the warship, suddenly a large number of people from the town rushed to the shore. "What are these people trying to do?" Qin Chuan couldn't help asking in confusion after seeing this scene. But the next moment, the villagers cheered and waved to them non-stop. Seeing this scene, Qin Chuan took another look at his warship, and then suddenly realized. It turned out that these residents had been observing all this in the dark just now, and when they discovered that Qin Chuan and others had killed the evil dragon and boarded the warship, they thought that Qin Chuan and the others were naval soldiers, and they came here this time to deal with the dragon pirates. So when they killed the evil dragon and were about to leave, the residents of the town spontaneously came out to send Qin Chuan off. "I didn't expect to do good deeds. It seems that the Navy is really considering letting me join the King's Chiwahai." Qin Chuan laughed at himself. What's the meaning of Chiwahai under the king? At this time, Douglas Barrett, who had been isolated from the world for a long time, asked suspiciously. "The Chiwahai under the king is a temporary organization, and there are 7 members in this organization. And these 7 members, without exception, are all the 7 great pirates recognized by the world government. These pirates have catastrophic destructive power and a huge combat power that rivals the country. Therefore, the world government gave the 7 pirates special powers and qualifications, allowing them to engage in all illegal activities, but similarly, they must also obey the instructions of the Navy during certain periods of time." Qin Chuan explained. "It's ridiculous. The 7 big pirates recognized by the world government are willing to be the lackeys of the world government. This is simply discrediting our pirates, but do I know any of these 7 people?" "Don't tell me, there is someone you know among these 7 guys, and you fought against him back then, and that guy is doing pretty well now." "Who?" So it was him, Douglas Barrett thought after listening. But the next moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Qin Chuan. Qin Chuan was also taken aback when he saw Douglas Barrett glaring at him. "Why are you staring at me like that?" "Captain Qin Chuan, it's true that I fought Shaw Crocodile, but that was more than 20 years ago. You know, it's not surprising that I became Captain Roger. After all, Roger was so famous at that time, it is normal for his crew to be well known by the world. But how did you know what happened to me when I went out to sea alone?" Quote. Hearing Douglas Barrett's questioning, Qin Chuan realized that he had slipped his mouth just now. Indeed, according to common sense, it is absolutely impossible for him to know that Douglas Barrett and Shaw Crocodile are fighting. The heavenly secret must not be leaked. You will find out slowly in the future. At this time, Chin Chuan can't say that he only knew about it after watching your cartoon. After all, this statement is too stupid, and the other party probably won't believe it. So now Chin Chuan had no choice but to pretend to be mysterious and fool him. Sure enough, Douglas Barrett was immediately stunned after hearing Chin Chuan's words. If he hadn't seen how powerful Chin Chuan was, he might have thought that Chin Chuan was bluffing people, but the terrifying strength Chin Chuan showed in advancing the city at the beginning made him believe that Chin Chuan might really have some kind of power. Terrifying strength. And this kind of terrifying power seems to be able to spy on everything. If this is the case, then it is really terrible. At this time, Douglas Barrett began to feel awe of Chin Chuan, which stemmed from his fear of Chin Chuan's unknown identity. Captain Chin Chuan, where are we going next? Go to the kingdom of Alabasta and meet Nasha Crocodile. Chin Chuan said. He's in the kingdom of Alabasta. What else do you want to see him for? Beat him, and then ask him if he wants to join us. If he doesn't join, I don't mind letting Wangxia Chihuahai vacate a position. Chin Chuan said disapprovingly. You want to replace him as a lackey of the world government? After seeing what Chin Chuan said, Douglas Barrett immediately asked vigilantly. Although he recognized Chin Chuan as the captain, it didn't mean he was going to bow his head to the world government. Haha, you're thinking too much. A mere title of King Chihuahai is nothing, but those guys in the New World often dispatch dozens of pirate ships together. If it's just the two of us, wouldn't we be exhausted if we really got into a fight? So along the way, I am going to recruit soldiers and buy horses to form a pirate group that belongs to us. Quote. Is that guy good enough to cooperate with us? Douglas Barrett said disapprovingly. He was still dissatisfied with Shaw Crocodile. After all, the two had fought against each other but there was no result. Now Chin Chuan suddenly asked him to cooperate with the other party, which made him a little unhappy. The strength is not bad. After all, he is the king of Shichibukai, and he is also a person who has a natural devil fruit. You should know the power of the natural devil fruit, right? Quote. In the world of pirates, devil fruits are divided into 3 categories: devil fruit natural, devil fruit superhuman, devil fruit animal. After eating, you can get some superpowers. The nature type is recognized as the strongest of the 3 devil fruits. Its biggest feature is that it can elementize the body and make physical attacks ineffective. Except for some natural entities that can be hit by special restraint, only armed domineering and dark fruits can touch natural entities. And if the ability user's own armed color is not strong enough, it will actually not be able to hurt the natural ability user. Therefore, those who have the ability of the natural devil fruit will naturally have relatively strong strength. Even the mighty Douglas Barrett possesses only a superhuman fusion devil fruit. The superhuman fit devil fruit is the ability to arrange and combine all objects to make them fit. Douglas Barrett is able to fuse the inorganic objects he touches with his body, and not only can he fuse with his body, but he can also combine the inorganic objects and rearrange them to create new weapons. So although Douglas Barrett does not have a nature-type devil fruit, he does not have the ability to possess a nature-type devil fruit. HMPH, the natural devil fruit is nothing. This time we meet, I will personally defeat him. Douglas Barrett said coldly. In the following time, according to Chin Chuan's memory, the warship began to head towards the kingdom of Alabasta. And after drifting in the vast sea for 2 full days, Chin Chuan suddenly discovered a huge ship not far ahead. It seems to be a pirate ship. Do you want to stop it? Douglas Barrett asked upon seeing this. Chin Chuan glanced at it, and found that the bow of the ship ahead was a giant red dragon, and at the same time, there was actually a pattern of a skull hanging on the double mast of the hull. And on this skull, there are 2 sharp swords interlaced. Isn't it? I met your acquaintance here again. Chin Chuan smiled helplessly. My acquaintance, the guys who were on the same boat as you before, but maybe they were still interns back then. I don't know if you still have an impression. Who? Red-haired Shanks. At the same time, he is also one of the most outstanding pirates in the New World. In the near future, I am afraid that he will probably rule the New World, so this guy is also one of our goals. Chin Chuan explained Road. And the pirate ship in front of me is exactly the same as the main battleship of the red-haired pirate ship, the Red Foss, in terms of scale and appearance. In addition, according to the timeline, Shanks should have just lost an arm in Windmill Town. If nothing else, they are now preparing to rush to the new world. Chapter 21. Shanks. It seems that there was such a guy on the boat back then, but he didn't seem to be that powerful at the time. Unexpectedly, time has really changed. Although Captain Roger is dead, the guys on his ship have also begun to shine. Quote. Douglas Barrett sighed. Go, meet this guy for a while, and I want to requisition his ship. After all, this warship is too small. Chin Chuan laughed. Haha, I think so too. Since that guy also hangs out with Roger, I'm going to go and see if he still recognizes me. Douglas Barrett laughed loudly after hearing Chin Chuan's proposal. Then he drove this mini warship towards the Red Foss ahead. Captain Shanks, there is a small warship coming towards us quickly, what should we do? Do we want to avoid the other party? An obese man on the deck, wearing small sunglasses, a green and white striped hat, a green and white striped shirt, a yellow coat, a blue belt, beige pants, and red sneakers, is holding a piece of fresh meat at the same time he hummed there. He is one of the combatants of the Red Hair Pirates, Lucky Lu. Let's see who the other party is from. If it's a general or something, forget it. On the deck, a man with red hair, a long black cloak, patterned brown capri pants, flip-flops at his feet, and the famous sword, Griffin, on his hips said in a deep voice. And his left arm is now empty. There is only one man in this world who loses an arm and can still become a captain, and that is the red-haired Shanks. There were only 2 men on that warship, but they couldn't identify each other's identities because they didn't wear navy coats, so they didn't seem to be navy. Lucky Lu replied. Captain, it seems that those 2 guys may be the same as us, but they hijacked this warship at this time. Beside Shanks is a gray-haired man with a long face, a pointed chin, a straight nose, a well-defined facial line, a solid physique, scars on his arms, and a rifle tied around his waist. Wearing a black shirt with 3/4 sleeves, a belt around the waist, and a rifle tied around his waist, the man in the spiral pattern cloak analyzed. He is the strongest brain in the red-haired pirates, and also the deputy captain Ben Beckman. Interesting, 2 little pirates are actually eyeing us, go meet them for a while. Shanks raised a smile after looking at the fast-approaching warship ahead. Soon, the 2 ships were close together, and Chin Chuan and Douglas Barrett also jumped onto the deck of the Red Fourth immediately. And when they landed, dozens of people had gathered around the scene. Among them, the leader is the famous red-haired Shanks. Hey, what do you guys do? After exhaling a smoke ring, Ben Beckman asked in a cold voice. It's nothing, you've seen it too, our boat is too small to be comfortable to stay in, and your boat is quite big, so the 2 of us want to come up and discuss with you to see if we can swap the 2 boats. And after hearing what Chin Chuan said, everyone at the scene burst into laughter. Boy, do you know who we are? Or do you know which pirate group we are? At this time, a man wearing a cloth collar shirt and trousers, with an iron rod on his waist and a long gun on his back couldn't help but sneered. Jesus be you, in fact, your son Usopp is as stupid as you. Chin Chuan said suddenly after glancing at the other party. As soon as his words fell, the atmosphere at the scene suddenly became serious. At this time, many pirates around had quietly picked up their weapons. Even co-captain Ben Beckman snuffs out his cigarette. Obviously, Chin Chuan's words fell on their heads like a heavy bomb. It seems you know my son. I know, but he's too stupid to be my crew member. Chin Chuan said calmly. Hey, boy, it seems that you know us very well. Since you know our background and dare to come to us, it shows that you are very confident in you. Shanks grabbed his famous sword, Griffin, with one hand and said in a deep voice. If your hand is broken, you can take care of yourself and take care of yourself. Why go to the New World? Leave the boat behind, and you can stay in the East China Sea. As soon as Chin Chuan's voice fell, Shanks hadn't moved yet, but Ben Beckman on the side had already done it. I saw that in the blink of an eye, a rifle tied to his waist had been raised. Boom! Without any warning, the bullet burst out from the muzzle of the rifle. But when the bullet hit Chin Chuan at a high speed, a powerful palm beside him instantly supported it. The next moment, the bullet was blocked by this dark and bright palm. Seeing that Ben Beckman's attack was stopped by the opponent, everyone around was shocked. And even Ben Beckman himself couldn't help frowning slightly. Sir, have we met somewhere? Seeing this, the red-haired man also understood that the guy next to Qin Chuan must have a lot of background. His body just now was surrounded by armed domineering in an instant, and he was able to block Ben Beckman's bullets so quickly, which shows that the opponent's strength is already very terrifying. On the other hand, the young man beside him who kept uttering wild words seemed to have no ability, so Shanks turned his attention to Douglas Barrett. Hey, time has changed. The kid mopping the floor on the boat didn't recognize me anymore. It seems that I am really old. Douglas Barrett was filled with emotion after hearing Shanks' words. Haha, times have changed, my lord. That's why I said I'm going to take you out to see the world, otherwise people would think you died in Jinjin City. Qin Chuan also joked aside. Although the two were talking and laughing, their tone seemed very relaxed, but the people on the opposite side didn't think so. After hearing what the other party said, his brain began to work rapidly. Obviously, the other party's words have been clearly stated, and I must have known him back then. At this moment, a name suddenly appeared in his mind. Douglas Barrett, Shanks asked tentatively. Haha, if you still recognize me, it's much easier. This boat is here to stay. You guys go. Since you are part of the Roger Pirates, I will let you go today. Hearing Douglas Barrett's arrogant words, Shanks' face sank instantly. And everyone around him also showed angry expressions. They are different from Shanks, the name Douglas Barrett is still too unfamiliar to them. Douglas Barrett, who traveled with Roger back then. At this time, Ben Beckman beside him couldn't help but be surprised. He is also very old, so he still remembers some things back then. After hearing the conversation between the two, he also began to remember some past events. It seems that you are really behind. Didn't today's newspaper get to you? Qin Chuan couldn't help mocking at this time. In the world of pirates, there is a way of express delivery, which is to send newspapers to people all over the world through seagulls. After all, many people have been drifting at sea for many years, so if you have to wait until the shore to buy the latest newspaper, then the day lily will be cold. So Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency, trained a kind of newspaper delivery gull bird. This bird will bite the latest newspaper of the day from the land to the sea, and then accurately deliver the freshly baked newspaper to each pirate ship. As soon as Qin Chuan finished speaking, a paper gull flew in the sky. The newspaper delivery gull landed on the deck accurately, and then threw the newspaper on the ground. Then Lucky Rue went up to toss some berries into a little basket hanging on the gull's chest. Then the newspaper delivery gull flew up again and left the scene. Immediately afterwards, Lucky Lu immediately picked up the newspaper and handed it to Shanks. Although it had been several days since Qin Chuan and the others escaped from prison, their deeds were actually fully exposed only yesterday. People in major cities and towns had received the latest information that day, and those who were drifting at sea could only wait for today's newspapers. Shanks took the newspaper and took a look, only to see the figures of the two people in front of him suddenly appearing on the front page headline. After carefully reading the content, Shanks couldn't help but gasped. Douglas Barrett, I didn't expect you to be able to escape from the 6th layer of infinite hell in the deep-sea prison, and even defeated all the guards in the city. Shanks spoke so loudly that everyone on the ship could hear them clearly. When they heard that these two unknown guys were able to escape from the iron-walled, deep-sea prison, many people immediately became timid. Mr. Douglas Barrett, although I respect you very much, it may not be realistic for me to hand over this boat. Because now this ship carries not only my ideals, but the ideals of the entire Red Hair Pirates. So you can't take this ship away. Shanks then explained in a deep voice. Although Douglas Barrett is considered his senior and has had friendship with him, it does not mean that Shanks will be afraid of him. Now that his strength has reached a certain level, it is obviously impossible for him to hand over the Red Fourth. Your ideal. Do you want me to talk about the deal with Wu Laoxing in front of your crew? If it really reaches that point, I'm afraid this pirate world won't be able to accommodate you. Qin Chuan suddenly said in a playful tone. If the previous words shocked everyone, then this sentence made the scene suddenly silent. Because Qin Chuan not only mentioned Shanks, but also Wu Laoxing. The 5 old stars are actually 5 male elders who truly stand at the top of world power. The 5 old stars, composed of these 5 old men, are the highest leaders of the world government. They are also the pillars of the world government, and their status is much higher than that of Kong, the commander-in-chief of the world government's army. When Qin Chuan connected Shanks and the 5 old stars together, it couldn't help but let everyone present start to have imaginations. At this time, beads of sweat the size of peas had begun to appear on Shanks' forehead. Qin Chuan was the second man who made him feel afraid since he was sensible. And the first man has been publicly executed by the Navy for being terminally ill. Mr. Qin Chuan, who are you? With your skills and strength, why are you following me, or what do you want? Shanks didn't respond to Qin Chuan's words directly, but tried to change the topic and ask back. I've said it all, keep your ship. As for why you are staring at you, I'm sorry, it's purely a chance encounter. Qin Chuan shrugged. Give me some face, let's forget about today's business, I can promise to help you find a brand new battleship. At this moment, Shanks suddenly said something surprising. Now even the crew members around him looked at their captain in disbelief. They have been in this sea for so many years, and they have never seen Shanks beg each other to save face. But now Shanks actually made this request to an unknown young man. Hee, do you think you have eaten the fruit of face? Just ask me to give you face. If you want face, you can earn it yourself. Qin Chuan snorted coldly. In this era of the weak and the strong, talking about face is so ridiculous that Qin Chuan rejected Shanks' request on the spot. In fact, defeating the opponent head-on is also the best courtesy to a heroic figure. Since that's the case, then I also want to try it out. How much ability do people who have been imprisoned in Jincheng City for 20 years still have? After Shanks finished speaking, he opened the scabbard with his right hand. The next moment, a sword light shone on the deck of the entire ship. At the same time, the entire sky instantly became cloudy. Your opponent is me, Shanks. At this time, Douglas Barrett beside him couldn't wait to see this vision. He really wanted to test the strength of this guy who was just an intern in front of him. After his whole body was covered with armed domineering in an instant, Douglas Barrett rushed forward. In an instant, he was at Shanks' side. And Shanks' face changed after seeing the other party rushing, and immediately lifted, Griffin. The next moment, a red sword light burst out from his sword. Seeing this sword glow, Douglas Barrett had no intention of dodging at all, and immediately put his hands in front of him to try to resist the sword glow. But he really underestimated Shanks' strength. As one of the 4 emperors, the bounty of Shanks has reached billions of berry, so the power of Shanks' attack is quite terrifying. Boom! The sword light slammed into Douglas Barrett's arms that had already been wrapped around the domineering arms of Douglas Barrett. But at the next moment, Douglas Barrett's entire body quickly retreated a few steps, and he barely stopped when he almost retreated to the edge of the boat. At this time, the armed arrogance on his arm has completely disappeared, and the exposed skin has been stained with a lot of blood. Shanks won this battle. Big brother, they are not evil dragons or rookies, don't put your face on other people's fists. At this time, Qin Chuan, who was not far away, hurriedly shouted. He never expected that Douglas Barrett would underestimate the enemy so much. No matter how hard the armed domineering is, it is difficult to play a role in the face of absolute strength. Haha, I was just trying to test this guy. I didn't expect the intern of Roger's pirate ship to become so powerful. I like it. Douglas Barrett laughed loudly. He himself is not that attached to treasures, he just hopes to stand on top of the world. Before standing on top of the world, all powerful enemies must be defeated. This Shanks is one of them. At the same time, everyone around opened their mouths in fright when they saw Douglas Barrett take Shanks' attack with bare hands. They are very clear about Shanks' strength, even the generals of the Navy headquarters would never dare to take the sword with bare hands. It can be seen that Douglas Barrett is indeed capable. Okay, I'm going to start transforming, kid, watch carefully. Douglas Barrett said calmly, and then, a purple aura began to appear around his body. These purple auras instantly enveloped the armed domineering body. After the two were combined, his body began to emit a dazzling purple light. Devil form, Qin Chuan asked in surprise when he saw this. After hearing the words, devil form, Shanks was taken aback for a moment, and then immediately shouted to the people around him, everyone spread out, don't come near me. Devil form is a unique fighting style of Douglas Barrett. He fuses his own ghostly aura with domineering aura, and his speed and strength have been greatly improved, just like a devil from hell, which is one of the reasons why he is called the heir of the devil. Douglas Barrett in devil form is almost invincible, so this is enough to show how much he attaches importance to this battle. The next moment, Douglas Barrett moved. Devil form, the strongest fist. Douglas Barrett started sprinting towards Shanks like a rocket. After all, Shanks is also the strength of the four emperors, and he can still stabilize his figure even in the face of such a moment. Immediately afterwards, the western sword in his hand was raised again. This time, streaks of lightning began to appear in the sky. The next moment, a bolt of lightning struck Shanks' western sword. Immediately afterwards, a lightning bolt in the shape of a real dragon burst out from his western sword. This dragon-shaped lightning roared towards Douglas Barrett, who was rushing forward. In an instant, the dragon-shaped lightning opened its bloody mouth, and Douglas Barrett threw out the strongest punch. Boom! A loud noise resounded across the entire sky in an instant, and a huge wave was set off on the entire sea level, and huge waves slapped on the deck frantically. At the same time, a huge shock wave detonated after the collision between the two. This shock wave directly knocked some people who were close to them off the deck and fell directly into the sea water. After the shock wave subsided, there were still two figures standing in the center of the battlefield. Clang, clang, clang. After smashing the dragon-shaped lightning with a punch, Douglas Barrett flashed to Shanks' side in an instant. Immediately afterwards, the two began to clash with each other with fists and swords. Douglas Barrett then suddenly threw a punch towards Shanks' face. But Shanks raised the western sword and blocked it abruptly. There was a click. When the western sword and the fist collided again, the entire deck finally couldn't hold on and made a crisp sound. The next moment, the entire deck began to crack rapidly. It's too bad. If this fight continues, even if we win the battle, the ship will sink. Qin Chuan cursed secretly, and then quickly opened the system store. At this time, he needs to find a character who can pretend to win the battle. After a quick glance, Uchiha Itachi character card appeared in his field of vision. Uchiha Itachi is a genius boy of the Uchiha clan. At the same time, he also opened the Kaleidoscope Sharingan early and mastered the powerful illusion ability. And whether this illusion can have an effect on Shanks, Qin Chuan has never tried it. Fortunately, the exchange condition for Uchiha Itachi character card only needs 100,000 reputation points, which is just a drizzle for him who has already gained a lot of reputation points in the City of Advancement. Thinking of this, Qin Chuan immediately exchanged Itachi Uchiha character card. Ding! The Uchiha Itachi role card was successfully exchanged, and the system will automatically deduct 100,000 reputation points from the host. At this time, Qin Chuan's system panel data was updated in an instant. Host: Qin Chuan. Possessable characters: Matt Kai, Uchiha Itachi, Chio Granny. Possession usable times: 4. Reputation point: 315,000. Even after spending 100,000 reputation points, Qin Chuan still has 300,000 reputation points left. After the exchange was completed, Qin Chuan immediately chose to let Uchiha Itachi possess him. Ding! The host successfully used the Uchiha Itachi character card, and the number of possession uses -1. As soon as the system finished speaking, Qin Chuan felt a force attached to him. At the same time, the pupils of his eyes also underwent new changes in an instant. Hey, have you played enough? Your opponent is me, Shanks. Qin Chuan yelled at the two people in front of him. And the next moment, Qin Chuan turned into countless black crows. At this moment, after hearing Qin Chuan's shout, the two parties who were fighting glanced over from the corner of their eyes at the same time. They were all shocked when they discovered that Qin Chuan's body had turned into a crow. Before Shanks could react, Qin Chuan suddenly appeared beside him. Boom! Qin Chuan punched him directly in the abdomen. And Shanks also flew directly into the railing beside him the next moment. Ben Beckman, who was watching the battle not far away, couldn't bear it anymore. He immediately took out his rifle and pointed it in the direction where Qin Chuan was, firing bullets wildly. But when the bullets were about to hit Qin Chuan once again turned into countless crows to avoid the bullets. On the other hand, Shanks, who got up quickly, shouted at the people around him, "Leave this guy to me to deal with, you go to encircle Douglas Barrett." As soon as his words fell, a large amount of dark red aura suddenly emanated from his body. The crows that were flying in the air instantly turned into human forms after touching the dark red aura. The transformed Qin Chuan's expression darkened instantly. His teleportation was actually broken by Shanks' domineering arrogance. Shanks, like Douglas Barrett, is a person with domineering arrogance, and they can also easily release their domineering arrogance. And Douglas Barrett couldn't help being taken aback when he saw that Shanks had the same domineering power as himself. But the next moment, Ben Beckman and other crew members had already swarmed towards him and launched a new round of attacks. At this time, Douglas Barrett had already paid infinite attention to the battle situation on Qin Chuan's side. The fight over there was in full swing, while the two stood not far away and confronted each other. Are you an animal devil fruit ability? When Shanks saw Qin Chuan turned into a crow, he subconsciously thought that Qin Chuan must have eaten an animal devil fruit. Haha, you haven't even eaten a devil fruit, how can I eat that stuff? But in fact only vegetable chicken can eat that stuff. Qin Chuan wrote lightly. At this time, Douglas Barrett, who was fighting against many people not far away, almost spat out blood when he heard Qin Chuan's words. After blocking another wave of attacks from the crowd, Douglas Barrett shouted in the direction of Qin Chuan, I'm not using my devil fruit yet. Isn't it a devil fruit? To be able to possess such strength at such a young age, it seems that Donghai is really a place where talents are born. Yeah, how am I compared to the kid who broke your arm? Is it worthwhile for you to put all your hopes on him? After hearing Qin Chuan's words, Shanks was shocked again. He even knows about Luffy. Has this guy been hiding by his side and following him? After all, on this vast sea, if they hadn't been following them deliberately, how could they have met so coincidentally? Dude, this time the game is really over. Let's experience fear. Monthly reading. The next moment, 3 Guyus suddenly appeared in the depths of the pupils of Qin Chuan's eyes, connected together from different directions, and immediately took on a blade-like shape. Just when Shanks was wondering, suddenly the screen in front of him went black. When he woke up again, he was suddenly tied to a wooden stake, and the thick chain made of Halu stone wrapped around his body. Looking around again, Shanks found himself in the middle of a vast ocean. And the color of this ocean is not azure blue, but a weird red like blood. Immediately afterwards, dozens of crows flew to his side, and then smoothly transformed into Qin Chuan's figure. Where is this? Shanks pretended to be calm. You can understand that this is a new world I built, and you are trapped in this world by me. Ah, Shanks wanted to break free from the thick iron chain, but his whole body couldn't exert any strength at all. Obviously, he was trapped. In my world, even if you have the ability to reach the sky, you can't escape, so don't struggle fearlessly. Qin Chuan spoke again. It's ridiculous, if I'm not wrong, this must be a virtual space you made up, and although I can't get out here, you can't hurt me even half a point. And after the battle outside is over, my crew can kill you immediately, and then this virtual space will be destroyed by itself. Quote, Shanks deserves to be a man who can become the 4 emperors. Even if he is in a dangerous situation, he can still make a rational analysis at the first time. But no matter how sensible he is, this time he is not facing a guy from Pirate World, so his theory doesn't work at all. This, monthly reading, is an illusion launched by the Kaleidoscope Sharingan. It pulls the spirit of any enemy who looks directly at Qin Chuan into the illusion space, and as long as he sees the Kaleidoscope Sharingan opened by Qin Chuan, he will be instantly tricked. In the world of Yueyu, all factors, including time, place, quality, etc., are controlled by the caster, and the enemy will suffer great physical and mental pain in the illusion world. This is also known as the strongest mental attack. Under normal circumstances, Yudu cannot be deciphered, and only if the pupil power of the writing sharing eye is higher than that of the caster, or the mental power is strong, can it be deciphered. Obviously, it is impossible for Shanks to have the so-called Sharingan pupil power. At the same time, in order to weaken Shanks' spiritual power, Qin Chuan immediately built a chain of oceans and sea stones. The purpose is to let Shanks feel more clearly that this is a real world. But even though Qin Chuan has done it perfectly, Shanks still recognized it as an illusion at first glance. Qin Chuan knew that he would never be able to completely defeat Shanks by fooling around with a few words, so at this time he could only increase the size again. The next moment, a long sword suddenly appeared in his hand. And when Shanks saw this long sword, he immediately exclaimed, "Griffin." At this time, the western sword in Qin Chuan's hand is the famous sword, Griffin, worn by Shanks before. Similarly, this is also an illusion created by Qin Chuan through his own thoughts, and only Qin Chuan clearly knows that all of this is false. "You can kill me right here," Shanks yelled. At this time, he actually felt a little hopeless, which he had never felt in so many years. Even the mighty Roger didn't make him feel so frightened and helpless in the first place. "Well, I have never seen anyone make such a request in my life, but for your sake, I will agree to you. Question mark, question mark, question mark. This is for my own good." At this time, Shanks was completely stunned after hearing Qin Chuan's words. He refused to ask him to save himself just now, but now that he mentions it casually, he takes it seriously. But just when Shanks was thinking wildly, the western sword in Qin Chuan's hand had pierced into his chest. Even though Shanks has an extraordinary physique and a super-armed domineering bodyguard, after being stabbed by his own sword, a pain instantly spread throughout his body. At this moment, he only felt one thing, and that was pain. "You're bleeding." Qin Chuan pointed to Shanks' abdomen and pretended to be surprised. And Shanks looked down, and sure enough, fresh blood was flowing from the place where he was stabbed by the sword. Although everything here is fake, the pain is so real. Looking at his own blood that was flowing, Shanks began to doubt his own judgment. What the hell is going on? Shanks cursed secretly. On the other hand, Qin Chuan's palms had already begun to sweat profusely. Although the kaleidoscope Sharingan can be used to open the bug illusion of monthly reading, but similarly, the caster must also bear the huge side effects of opening the kaleidoscope Sharingan. According to Naruto's knowledge, the caster who uses the kaleidoscope Sharingan too many times is very likely to lose his sight. After Qin Chuan opened the 8-door Dunjia before, he already knew very well that although his body is now possessed by Uchiha Itachi, but the functions of the flesh are still his own. In other words, if you use it frequently, your eyes will become blind. And if you become blind, you will not be able to restore your vision if you possess any ninja character, so your body is like a container. If it is smashed, there will be no more usable containers. So at this time, Qin Chuan also felt the side effects of opening the kaleidoscope Sharingan for a long time. "No, we must take him down as soon as possible," Qin Chuan said inwardly. Immediately afterwards, he yanked and pulled out the western sword directly. At the same time, Shanks groaned subconsciously. But even so, Shanks still has no intention of bowing his head. Seeing this situation, Qin Chuan knew that he was going to use a big move. The opponent's strength caused his mental power to be different from ordinary people, so he would not compromise so easily. Thinking of this, Qin Chuan's mind moved. The next moment, 5 elders suddenly appeared beside Shanks. Five old stars. Shanks was stunned for a moment after looking at the old men around him. At this time, an old man in a black suit, with white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, a flat cap, and a scar on his left face said slowly, "Shanks, you have let us down so much." He actually lost his arm for a child. "That's right, you are already a cripple now. A guy with a broken arm no longer has any meaning to exist." As soon as he finished speaking, an old man next to him, wearing a dark blue suit, with long straight white hair and a long beard, immediately added, "Stop talking nonsense, let's do it, send him on the road, our time is precious, we can't waste too much time here." In the end, a bald old man in a dark green suit, with a bald head, a figure-8 beard, and a birthmark on his forehead added. After he finished speaking, the others nodded in agreement. After seeing this scene, Shanks almost collapsed, because before that, everything he saw might be an illusion deliberately created by Qin Chuan, but the dialogue between the 5 old stars and himself was so real, so much so that he began to wonder if he was really in an illusion. The next moment, Wu Laoxing surrounded Shanks, and then stabbed the long sword in his hand fiercely towards Shanks' body. Shanks finally couldn't bear it anymore. He raised his head to the sky and roared angrily, then passed out on the spot. Shanks was directly tortured to death in the illusion, which shows that in reality the other party has completely collapsed and lost consciousness. Then Qin Chuan directly interrupted the illusion world created by monthly reading. everything on the screen, the two returned directly to reality. And when he jumped back to reality, the Western sword, Griffin, held by Shanks was released directly and fell to the ground. There was a crisp sound when the Western sword hit the floor. This also attracted the attention of other pirates around. Everyone stopped fighting and turned their gazes over. But at the moment when everyone looked over, Shanks suddenly went dark, and then fell straight down in front of the audience. At this moment, the scene fell into a deathly silence. At this moment, a long-lost voice finally came from the system. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the enemy. You have received a total of 150,000 reputation rewards this time. After defeating Shanks, Chin Chuan earned 150,000 reputation points at one time, which is already a huge fortune for him. Not only did he earn back the 100,000 prestige needed to buy the Uchiha Itachi character card, but he also gained 50,000 more prestige points. But just when Chin Chuan was happy, his eyes suddenly felt pain. Ah! Chin Chuan groaned softly, and then his eyes began to shed tears. This is the side effect of opening Kaleidoscope Sharingan for a long time. As members of the Uchiha clan, there are side effects when opening the Kaleidoscope Sharingan, let alone ordinary people like Chin Chuan. So his eyes bear a greater load than anyone else. After a while, he opened his eyes again. But at this moment, his eyes were bloodshot, and his appearance was extremely scary. After seeing that the battle on this side was over, the battle on the other side was also completely interrupted. Ben Beckman, Jesus Bu and others quickly ran to Shanks' side and helped him up. In addition, Douglas Barrett hurried to Chin Chuan's side to protect him. Captain Chin Chuan, are you okay? Chin Chuan waved his hand, and then slowly walked towards the opposite side. At this time, the people on the opposite side also helped Shanks up. After a closer inspection and found that Shanks was just unconscious, Ben Beckman and others breathed a sigh of relief. But they had just calmed down, and Chin Chuan started walking towards them. Now everyone became tense again in an instant. Don't come here again. Come here again and blow your head off. Jesus Bu raised his sniper rifle and aimed at Chin Chuan's head and warned. It's up to you, if you think you can kill me, then go ahead and try. Chin Chuan glared at Jesus Bu, then dismissed him. Hearing Chin Chuan's sarcasm, Jesus' face changed, and then he slowly lowered the sniper rifle. Obviously, he knew that Chin Chuan's words were not bluffing. Although they didn't pay much attention to the movement here just now, even the mighty Shanks fell in front of Chin Chuan. Then how could he hurt the man who defeated Shanks? Actually, I respect Shanks very much, but this world is a pirate world where the weak prey on the strong, and I just want your ship today. And with all due respect, it is impossible for you to defeat me and Douglas Barrett with your current strength, so let the boat out, and I can give you a way out. In addition, Shanks is just in a coma, and he should wake up in a few days. Quote. Chin Chuan's words resounded instantly on the entire deck of the Red Fourth. After a long silence, Ben Beckman, the deputy captain of the red-haired pirates, finally spoke. Abandon ship, take Captain Shanks to that mini warship. Hearing Ben Beckman speak, everyone present also bowed their heads. Obviously, this is the most humiliating day for the red-hair pirates. The handover work went smoothly. Under the order of Ben Beckman, the red-haired pirates and others took some food and went down to the small warship that Chin Chuan and the others drove. After all the other parties left, Chin Chuan turned around, and then he slumped down on the deck. Captain Chin Chuan, are you okay? Douglas Barrett on the side hurried forward to help him up. Fighting against Shanks has consumed too much energy, please help me in and have a rest. On the other side, not long after the red-haired pirates left in this mini warship, suddenly, a relatively large pirate ship appeared around. After the large pirate group saw a mini warship approaching, the pirates on the whole ship were overjoyed. Haha, brothers, let's rob this navy's warship today, let them see our true strength. At this time, a one-eyed man on the deck cheered towards the pirates behind him. And when the two ships collided, there was a burst of wailing from the ship. All of a sudden, the entire deck of the ship was full of grief, and blood flowed like a river. Early the next morning, Chin Chuan stretched after waking up. As expected of the red-haired pirates, even the bed is soft, which is completely different from the wooden bed on the previous warship. At that time, in order to save some energy, Douglas Barrett forced the two pirates of the Red Hair Pirates to stay and sail for them. The two pirates were so frightened that they peed out at first, but fortunately, Douglas Barrett was not interested in such a small role at all. In addition, he still wanted to rely on these two laborers to send them to Alabasta at this time, so it was naturally impossible to use them. And at this moment, Douglas Barrett walked in with a newspaper in his hand. "You are in the headlines again, and the world government has issued a reward order for you, and now you are also a wanted criminal." Qin Chuan had long expected that he would be called an enemy of the world government, so he didn't particularly care about the reward order. After receiving the newspaper, Qin Chuan was shocked. This Morgans is really terrible. In just one day, he actually knew so many details. The first is news about the world government. 3 days after Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett escaped, the world government finally issued a warrant for their arrest. Under Qin Chuan's photo, there was a bounty of 1 billion, while Douglas Barrett's bounty was as high as 1.8 billion. The reason for the disparity in the rewards between the two is mainly because Douglas Barrett has long been famous, while Qin Chuan is just a rising star. After all, he just escaped from the City of Advancement, and did not do anything else that threatened the society, so the bounty has not been raised yet. In addition, the Navy headquarters also issued an order to arrest the Qinchuan pirates around the world. At the same time, the Justice fleet headed by Admiral Sakaski has left Marin Fando and is heading towards the East China Sea. Obviously, the target of the luxurious fleet led by the general this time is Qin Chuan himself. Next, another page of the newspaper directly reported that the warships of Qin Chuan and Douglas Barrett encountered the red-haired pirates led by Shanks in the East China Sea. It also stated that the two sides fought fiercely on the deck of the Red Foss of the Red Hair Pirates, and the fight was so dark. In the end, the result of this battle ended in the complete defeat of the Red Hair Pirates, and then all members of the Red Hair Pirates had to abandon the ship and chose to evacuate the Red Foss. And after they evacuated, they found another large pirate ship, and then snatched this pirate ship, and then landed on an island in the East China Sea to rest in the evening. In addition, the newspaper also broke the news that according to reliable sources, Qin Chuan completely defeated the red-haired Shanks in the battle that day. Obviously, after the red-haired pirates landed on a certain island that night, the news leaked out instantly. And when this news came out, I was completely shocked. The world government has just issued a global wanted list, and as a result, Qin Chuan directly defeated the famous pirate, Shanks, in the New World. Although Shanks at this time has not been officially named 4 emperors, his strength has been recognized by all parties. Now an unknown guy suddenly appeared, first defeated the guards of the city and escaped, and then defeated the powerful red-haired pirates head-on. Now all forces in the world have to start to face up to Qin Chuan. In the naval headquarters, Marin Fando, in the marshal's office, Sengoku sat on the desk with a stern expression. And there is today's newspaper on the table. It's this guy again, he's still so arrogant after escaping, he doesn't care about our navy. At this moment, Pelusaruno said gracefully, crossing his legs on the sofa. It's interesting now, this guy not only beat up the people who advanced the city, but now he also cleaned up the famous pirates, which saved us a lot of trouble. I hope he will continue to work hard and defeat a few more guys from the New World, so that we can be a little more comfortable. Carp put his arms around his chest and said solemnly. Garp, why do you feel like you appreciate him? Warring States looked at Garp suspiciously. Is it strange that I admire him? In my opinion, if he can be recruited into the king's Chiwahai, then it would be the most suitable. What, you want to recruit him into the Chiwahai under the king? After hearing Carp's proposal, Sengoku immediately frowned. The world government and the navy have just jointly released the news about wanting to arrest Qin Chuan, but now Garp says that he wants to recruit the other party. This is undoubtedly a slap in the face of the world government and the navy. And as the supreme commander of the navy, he is naturally unwilling to do this. Chiwahai under the king is an unreasonable system. At the beginning, I didn't know whether the high-level executives had their heads flooded or something happened to propose such a waste system. Take a look at those guys who joined the Chiwahai under the king, how many of them are abiding by the rules? These people use the identities given to them by the world government to run amok in this world. And as a just navy, it can only watch them commit crimes without being able to arrest them. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Now there is such a guy who can defeat the pirates in the New World, so why can't we give him an identity and let him do things for us? Said Carp seriously. Your words are not unreasonable, but the Chihuahai under the king itself requires that the people who join have certain influence and strength. Now that Qin Chuan has strength, but no power, it is too unreasonable for two people to join the king's 7 martial arts with just such a boat. Moreover, there are only 7 people in Shichibukai, and the quota is full now, unless he can defeat one of the pirates here, and then snatch his territory. In this way, he is eligible to join Shichibukai. Porosalino analyzed after touching his chin. HMPH, it's still too early to let him join the Shichibukai, maybe Sakazuki will be able to catch them all this time. Sengoku narrowed his eyes and said coldly. At the same time, on the deck of the main battleship of the Justice fleet floating in the vast sea. After reading today's latest newspaper, Sikarsky threw it into the sea. Pass me an order to let the rest of the warships line up for me from now on and expand the search area, even a small ship cannot be let go. Yes, Lieutenant General Ghost Spider behind him gave a military salute, then turned around and left quickly. In addition to the world government and the Navy headquarters, some powerful pirates who are familiar with the Red Hair Pirates are also discussing this matter. On a very remote island somewhere, a man lacked a few teeth in his mouth, had a rough appearance, thick hair on his body, a burly figure, dark skin, black hair, fluffy hair, a headscarf, and 2 necklaces, bracelets on the wrists of both hands, and jewelry rings of different styles on the 10 fingers. Especially the 3 flintlock guns pinned to the left waist are even more conspicuous. The middle-aged man was sitting under a tree with a bottle of wine and laughing while reading the newspaper. Ha ha ha, this guy is interesting. It looks like he has a very powerful devil fruit. It's best not to let me touch it, ha ha ha. Master Marshal D. Teach, there is a merchant ship ahead, and there is a warship escort at the same time, is it going to be hijacked? At this time, a pirate hurriedly ran up to him and said respectfully. Hearing this news, Blackbeard narrowed his eyes instantly, and then slowly said, I hijacked the merchant ship. As for the warship, let me sink it. Ha ha ha. On an island of cakes and cream. A tall, corpulent man with thick lipstick and light purple eyeshadow. A middle-aged woman in a pirate hat and a pink wide dress is munching on a delicious cake. And she is the aunt, Charlotte Lingling, who has become one of the emperors of the sea. Mom, another scary guy appeared in the East China Sea, and he defeated the red-haired pirates led by Shanks. At this time, I was wearing a top hat with many lollipops on it. Slender, with a long nose and tongue, Charlotte Perospero, the eldest son of the Charlotte family and one of the 34 ministers, who held a candy cane in his hand, said respectfully. Mama, when did Shanks become so weak? It's a shame for our new world. When that kid dares to come to the new world, if there is a chance, I will teach her to be a good person. In addition, these cakes are too few, send me more cakes, hurry up. Quote. The more Charlotte Lingling talked, the more excited she became. Yes, Mom, I'm going to prepare a new cake for you right away. When Charlotte Perospero saw that the other party was about to get angry, he immediately turned around and ran away all the way. On an island with huge horns that look like ghosts, a man lives in a large cave. He is extremely tall and burly, with black hair shawl, a pair of long horns like horns of a horned dragon, and dragon beards on his mouth. Usually has a long beard and a dragon scale tattoo on the left arm. The upper body is naked, with an X-shaped scar on the right abdomen, a purple jacket hanging from the waist, 2 gold chains hanging from the bottom of the jacket, dark green wide trousers on the lower body, a shimenawa tied around the waist, and a purple fluffy cloak, like the living middle-aged man of the devil, is drinking beer in big mouthfuls. HMPH, have you defeated Shanks? It seems that there will be another guy who is not afraid of death in the new world. But it doesn't matter, when my army of artificial ability users is formed, the whole world will be under my feet. The speaker is Kaido, one of the emperors of the sea, the king of beasts. And when he drank the beer in his hand, he threw the bowl directly on the ground, and then raised his head to the sky and let out bursts of dragon roars. The people on the entire island couldn't help but tremble slightly after hearing the figure from Kaido. On the deck of a super-large pirate ship with the head of a whale. A man with a crescent-shaped white beard curving upwards, wearing a white pirate hat, and a man who was obviously a lot taller than the others was sitting there with a majestic expression. But now his physical condition is not very good, there are countless drips hanging on his whole body, and an oxygen tube is inserted in his nose. At the same time, behind him stood more than a dozen young women in pink nurse uniforms. These women are not his crew, but his medical team. He is Edward Newgate, one of the Emperors of the Sea, and also has a resounding title, Whitebeard. Edward Newgate is considered by the world to be the man closest to One Piece, and he was also recognized as the strongest man in the world, after Roger's death. He possesses the strongest Superman's shaking fruit, which Admiral Sengoku calls the power to destroy the world. Even his weapon is very famous, Kong Yunchi, one of the 12 great swordsmanship. It's just that Edward Newgate is now in his twilight years. He has experienced countless wars in his early years. At the same time, due to the aging of his body, his health is not as good as before. But even so, the Whitebeard pirates are still the scariest pirates in the New World and the most feared by the world government. Father, it's interesting to have a kid, do you want me to meet him for a while? At this moment, she has dark brown skin, her hair is like a pineapple with leaves protruding from her hair, she always has long eyelids, and she always wears an unbuttoned white and gray shirt, revealing the cross on her chest. A man with a blue belt and a dangling golden ornament stood in front of him and said danglingly. And he is the first team captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco, known as the Phoenix. He has a devil fruit ability that is rarer than the natural one, the Phoenix Devil Fruit of the Phantom Beast, so he is well deservedly called the second most powerful man in the Whitebeard Pirates by outsiders. Don't worry, if this kid's goal is the treasure of the New World, then we will meet sooner or later. It's just that the only thing I'm wondering is, what the hell is Shanks doing? Not only did he lose an arm in such a weak East China Sea, but he was also defeated by an unknown person. Whitebeard said in a deep voice. He is not famous, but his crew must be very familiar to you, Captain. After listening to Marco's words, Edward Newgate's face instantly sank. To put it bluntly, he and Douglas Barrett were absolute rivals back then. Before the rise of the Roger Pirates, there was a very terrifying pirate group in the world of pirates, and that was the Rocks Pirates, where Edward Newgate belonged. The captain of the Rocks Pirates, Rox D. Gebeck, has dominated the entire sea world more than 40 years ago. At the same time, his crew members are getting bigger and bigger. Among the 4 emperors, apart from Shanks, Kaido, Charlotte Lingling and Edward Newgate are all his crew members. And in history, apart from Qin Chuan, the only person who pulled out the City of Advancement, the Golden Lion, Shi Ji, was also one of his crew members. After gathering such a powerful crew, the Rocks Pirates had a moment of glory and were unstoppable in the world. However, it is precisely because they are too powerful that the naval hero Garp united with the Roger Pirates to defeat them. This also directly led to the complete destruction of the entire pirate group, and the crew members on this ship were also scattered all over the world and grew to become an overlord. So to really pursue it, Edward Newgate should hate Douglas Barrett to death. More than 20 years have passed, and we have become old guys. Now that you say that, I suddenly start to look forward to meeting him. Father, do you mean we're going to find them ourselves? There's no need to look for it, I believe these 2 guys definitely don't want to just stay in that small East China Sea. And if they really dare to set foot in the waters of the New World, then I don't mind defeating them in one fell swoop. Quote. After Edward Newgate finished speaking, he directly picked up the Kong Yunchi, which symbolized absolute power, and smashed it hard on the deck. For a moment, the whole deck was shaken, and many weaker pirates fell to the ground at this moment. On the other hand, on Qin Chuan's side, the whole world thought that they were about to go to Fishman Island, but they went to the sea area of the Kingdom of Alabasta. Originally, according to Sakazuki's judgment, Qin Chuan's ship would definitely sail from the East China Sea to Fishman Island. Because in the world of pirates, the entire Red Earth continent divides the Great Route into 2 sections, and the second half is called the New World by the world. And if you want to reach the New World, then everyone has 2 options. One is to make a request to the world government, and then directly cross the Holy Land of Marijoya, which is located at the top of the Red Continent, so you can only abandon the ship, although it will cost a lot of money, the application is time-consuming, but it is very safe. The other way is to wrap the boat with the mangrove tree resin, dive 10,000 meters, pass through a huge hole under the Red Continent, and reach the New World via the undersea route, Fishman Island, but it is very dangerous. As for Chin Chuan and Douglas Barrett, who had just been issued a bounty by the world government, they knew that it was absolutely impossible for them to reach the New World from the Holy Land of Mary Joya. So there was only one way for them to go, and that was the Murloc Island with the undersea tunnel. However, when Sakaski's Justice fleet intercepted the entire East China Sea passing by the only way to Fishman Island, it did not find any suspicious ships passing by. On the other hand, on Chin Chuan's side, after several days of wandering, he and Douglas Barrett finally landed in the rainy land of the Kingdom of Alabasta. There are several large cities in the Kingdom of Alabasta, but Rainland is called Dream City. At the same time, Crocodile's base camp is also here. So Chin Chuan and the two rushed here directly at the first time. After landing in the rainy land, Chin Chuan let the two crew members stay on board, while he and Douglas Barrett came to the center of the city. Alabasta, a superpower located in the first half of the Great Channel, should be quite powerful logically. But today's Alabasta has begun to get a little crazy. In the country, except for its capital Albana, other large cities have not seen rain for several years. And under the deliberate inducement of the Baroque works, the people of the whole country thought that the drought was caused by the king's private use of the rain-inducing agent, dancing powder, which eventually triggered the Alabasta Civil War, which caused heavy casualties throughout the country and caused many disasters, serious economic loss. However, unlike other large cities in the country, the rainy land is peaceful. The life of the people here is much better than other cities, and it also has the largest casino, Rain Banquet, in the Kingdom of Alabasta. And this casino is also one of the wealth controlled by Shaw Crocodile. So when Chin Chuan logged into the rainy land, he fixed his eyes on the Rain Banquet immediately. Because the Rain Banquet casino is so famous, Chin Chuan even found out its location without any effort. When the two arrived at the periphery of the Rain Banquet casino, Douglas Barrett looked at Chin Chuan suspiciously. "Why, what do you want to do here? What can you do here? Of course it's gambling, let's go." Chin Chuan stretched his waist, and then took the lead into the large casino. After entering the casino, two hot women dressed as bunny girls came up immediately. "Do you want to come in and play? Haha. Since we've come to the rainy land, we're going to have a try, let's lead the way." Chin Chuan said with a smile. "Okay, please come with us." The two bunny girls then brought Chin Chuan and the others to a gambling table. There is a large turntable on this gaming table. On this turntable, there are corresponding numbers and a large pointer pointing the direction. The gameplay is also very simple. Gamblers can bet on any number on this table, or bet on the size of the number in odd or even numbers. At this time, a female croupier supported the turntable with one hand, and said, "Now everyone can start placing bets, buy and leave, and you can't go back on your word." As soon as she finished speaking, the gamblers at the scene began to place bets. At this moment, neither Chin Chuan nor Douglas Barrett moved. Because quite simply, they have no money. After robbing Shanks, he found that Shanks was also a poor ghost. They didn't rob others at all, and they drank heavily every day, and they were already deeply in debt, so Chin Chuan couldn't get any benefit from them. And they escaped from Advanced City before, so they have no money on them. At this time, the bunny girl who brought them over couldn't help frowning slightly after seeing this. "Sir, what's the matter with you?" "It's nothing, I just remembered that I forgot to bring money today, but it's okay, won't I have money in this way?" After Chin Chuan finished speaking, he stretched out his hands and put all the betting money of other gamblers on the table beside him, and put them all on the number, odd number, written on it. But the audience did not expect Chin Chuan to make such a move, and everyone on the spot focused their attention. "Hey, I've made my bet, let's start spinning," Chin Chuan said with a slight smile. But at the same time, just in case, he still used the Might K character card directly through his mind. Ding! The host successfully used the Matekai character card, and the number of possession uses -1. The next moment, his body was filled with energy again. And with Matekai's physique and physical skills in hand, Chin Chuan was completely relieved. "Boy, what do you mean? This is obviously our money." At this moment, an obese middle-aged man next to him suddenly became unhappy, and yelled at Chin Chuan on the spot. Later, other people around also protested Qin Chuan's behavior. This guy is obviously here to make trouble, you don't come forward to stop it. Just let him take our money and run amok. Yes, drive these two unknown people away. At this moment, the bunny girl also knew that Qin Chuan and the two probably wanted to find fault, so Deng even turned around and winked at a security guard nearby. The next moment, several security guards walked towards Qin Chuan and the others. HMPH, don't you want to turn? Then I think everyone should stop playing. Qin Chuan suddenly stretched out his right hand, and immediately slapped down on the gambling table in front of him. After a boom, the gambling table was split in half by Qin Chuan in an instant, and then the whole big table collapsed. At this time, Qin Chuan's actions immediately attracted the attention of other gamblers in the casino. And those security guards rushed over immediately. Hey, boy, are you looking for death? One of the security guards wearing sunglasses finished speaking and was about to rush up to catch Qin Chuan. But before he got close to Qin Chuan, suddenly a figure flashed by. The next moment, he only felt that his face was hit violently, and then he fell down in a pool of blood on the spot. Ah! Seeing someone fall to the ground, the entire casino suddenly became chaotic, and a large number of tourists began to run out of the casino. At the same time, the entire casino was facing a formidable enemy, and some people took advantage of the chaos and rushed to the second floor of the casino to report the matter. Kill them all, Qin Chuan said calmly without turning his head. After receiving Qin Chuan's order, Douglas Barrett moved again. When facing these small characters, he didn't waste any energy at all, and killed all the security guards approaching in the blink of an eye. Such terrifying strength also made other people around him stunned. Especially the bunny girl who brought him in just now was too scared to speak. At this time, Qin Chuan put one hand on the opponent's shoulder, grabbed the turntable with the other hand, and asked the croupier quietly, "Can I place bets now?" At this moment, the croupier's heart was in her throat. After seeing Qin Chuan's question, she subconsciously nodded. That's right, I talked to you well just now, but you still got rough with me. Tell me, is this still your way of hospitality? But at this moment, there was a sound of heavy footsteps from the stairs leading to the second floor. Da da da. At this time, everyone present subconsciously looked over. And the next moment, a man with a big back, a black fur coat, a long horizontal scar on his face, an earring on his right ear, a gold hook on his left hand, and a cigar smoked slowly away, down. Originally, he was stunned when he received the news that someone smashed the field. After all, there are no people who dare to make trouble on his land these days. So he walked down immediately. But when he saw it, his face suddenly darkened, and his brows frowned slightly. Obviously, he has recognized Qin Chuan and his former opponent Douglas Barrett. Long time no see, Shaw Crocodile. At this time, the corner of Douglas Barrett's mouth raised a slight evil smile. After hearing his name called out by the other party, he simply walked up to the two of them. At this time, the distance between the two sides is very close. If one side takes the lead, it will seize a certain opportunity. So, at this moment, everyone around is holding their breath. You two are really courageous. Don't you know that I am the Chihuahua king conferred by the world government? I have the right and the obligation to catch the pirates wanted by the world government. Quote, Shaw Crocodile said coldly after exhaling a smoke ring. Brother, isn't it, Chihuahua under the king? You are so good, what should we do? Douglas Barrett, are we going to kneel down and beg for mercy from your old opponent right now? Qin Chuan sneered in a playful tone. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.